Gotta make sure I don't have feedback.
Yep. No, I don't hear any feedback.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right,
We're
so
alive.
we are live, everybody. Hello, if anybody is joining. I'm not sure if anybody will be joining, but I hope that eventually somebody joins the stream.
Yeah.
But we wanted to have a discussion today around sex work. We've had something that happened in the XJW community that has brought it to the forefront. And because I've seen a lot of discussions on Twitter, I mean, you name it, it's everywhere. Everybody is talking about it, even people who aren't
Yeah, the
Jehovah's
conversation's
Witnesses.
finally leaving that sort of XJW
I've
space.
seen other people now talking about it. And the negative comments, I feel like they got to go. We've got to enlighten ourselves a little bit and do a bit better with our discussions if we're really trying to move out of this whole colonized mindset of like biblical brainwashing. Then we really should start to move away from
Right.
these negative ideas. Anyhow, so I'd watched your video, Bob and Lex, and you mentioned some great points. My friend Musa, who's below, wait, this way here. My
One
friend
of these
Musa,
directions,
Yeah.
yeah.
one of these directions. I haven't yet talked to you about this too much, except for in the Discord. But you had said you wanted to join the conversation too because you had noticed some things going down that you weren't like, happy with. So I wanted to thank both of you and you, all three of you, for
Yeah.
joining me at my first live. I mean, I've done lives on my other show, but for doing it this myself, hosting it and having to push buttons, yeah, that's a completely different.
Yeah.
That's a completely different topic. So anyway, thank you all for being here.
Yeah.
So let's just jump in. What are your feelings? What's
So, you want to go first?
Yeah, I guess I'll start. The main thing is that. God,
Well, hold on.
also-
Okay, can I?
Also, I just
think.
with. Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. So I think it's important. Hey, secularity. So I think it's important to first of all just contextualize. We're talking about not talking about what Lloyd did. That's a whole thing, entirely separate discussion. We don't really need to hash it out here. But the way people are talking about what happened, and specifically the way people are talking about sex workers,
exactly?
is maybe not always super helpful.
Yeah, I think it's important, like, to remember that, like, first, like, how you feel when something first happens is always, like, valid. You're entitled to your feelings. It's important
Exactly.
to step away and, like, I think you really should interrogate your feelings and so you can find out if there are any biases that you have that you might not be aware of. But
Yeah.
with this conversation, a lot of it, and, like, this is just kind of, like, a byproduct of like infidelity, double standards in general, but a lot of people are talking about the sex workers like they are involved in a marriage in any way, and that's not
Right.
okay. But then there's
Nothing to do with
also,
them.
but then when it comes like the controversy of like in Thailand, which is known for like high levels of human trafficking, then I feel like it's a nuanced conversation that's totally worth having, and like we had it on our channel essentially, but it's important to not like there's a way that people kind of like victimize the workers and also like speak of them in a derogatory way.
They become props for their
Yeah.
conversation. They become the
exactly.
idea of
That's a
a
better way to
sex
put it.
worker isn't themselves a victim or a worker. Instead, they are just used as a cudgel to beat Lloyd with, and it's like
Yeah, or the butt of the joke. What
Right.
have you? Exactly. And that's not helping.
Right. Like
yeah, like you may not like Secular already said in the chat. You may not personally want to be a sex worker, but you shouldn't demonize sex work
Exactly.
itself because at the end of the day, I mean, like I can I swear on this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I always remember whenever I think about sex workers, I always think about the old George Carlin bit about why prostitution should be legal, and he summed it up really simply: selling is legal, fucking is legal. Why isn't selling fucking legal?
Right. Why can't you sell that?
Consenting adults can just engage in both behaviors as much as they want.
and I think it's
Right.
So why can't they do them together?
I think it's also something worth noting too when it comes to that sort of conversation. Like, it's fine to do it and it's valid, but like, there's also, it's important to decriminalize sex work in general and to just sort of like just stop shaming it in general, because if you feel that sex workers are victims, you're making them so. Mm-hmm. Because the more it's illegal, there's no safeguards really in place, and like even with laws in place, there can be ways to get around it. There's still dangers there, but if it is legal, there's at least something. They have somewhere to go if there's someone to report to, something involved, and protections in place. But if there aren't protections in place, then you're totally alone, and then if something happens, you're also punished for being a victim.
Right.
Which is why it's really important to decriminalize sex work.
Yeah. I don't.
But I think there's a more like before we can not before we can decriminalize it right now. But I think culturally we as a society, and maybe Musa, you can speak to how it varies from regionally.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like,
because I wonder what the societal differences would be between where you are and where we are. But there's a lot of stigma around sex work where it's kind of inherited from the past, and also sort of like people kind of play it like it's a joke that there's stigma. I remember I left a comment on some YouTube video about a guy who left his wife to marry an escort that he had met, and then later the escort tried to kill him. So like, bad call. Clearly an awful decision to leave his wife, who didn't try to kill him, for an escort who would, right? That's clearly a mistake, I think we can all agree. But the fact that he married a sex worker, the fact that he married an escort, has no bearing on whether or not it was like she was going to murder him regardless of. She didn't end up murdering him, by the way. But just so it's clear, he's alive. But like, people in the comments responding to my comment, I was saying something like, it's really interesting that he has a sense of humor in the courtroom about this. And people were like, he better have a sense of humor. He married a sex worker. That's a big joke. And it's like, that's not a joke. That's not funny.
It's not the flex you think it is.
Yeah, and they're like, haha, no man, nobody wants a used bicycle. And I was like, I'll take a used bicycle.
Right.
Some of the best bikes I ever rode were used. Like, what are you talking about?
I think that's something interesting too, because that's not even so much just sex work. That's just like how people feel about women's sexuality in general. That like, I was there's this TikTok I saw. I wish I could remember the user, but it was so funny. She was like doing a parody of Alpha Podcast, and I was like, "This is so," and I was like, "This is really spot on." But she was using like, it's the same kind of argument they use, but reversing, and you can kind of get it. It's like, okay, like a pencil sharpener is supposed to sharpen as many pencils as possible, but if you keep sharpening the same pencil over and over again, it's all used up. Nobody wants a used pencil, right? And so like the metaphor, sharpener, that's fine. So
you're like, you are like an unwrapped lollipop. It's, and people use these disgusting metaphors for like, for like for women having sex, as though there's any, like, genuinely, who gives a shit? Like, I don't. The older I get, the more I realize that other people's lives really, really don't matter to me.
Right.
Like if they're sick, I don't want to catch what they've got, but also I do want them to feel better because I have empathy for them. But if they're just living their life, they're doing a job, I don't care.
Right. Well, what is it like, Musa? What is it? Is it any better in your country? Is it less? Is there less of a stigma to it, or is this?
It is really less. It is really less.
Really?
Because culturally, it is something that is looked down upon. And also when you bring the whole religious dynamic as well, it gives the pressure onto sex workers. And actually a lot of non-profit organizations are set up to help sex workers, and they usually bundle them up together with the LGBTQ. So it is something that people are starting to be wary of because whoever gives a fuck about what you do with your life, right?
Yeah.
If it's your body, I mean, there are
Right?
literally
Oh,
people on the internet selling pictures and videos of their body,
sure.
but you are here to dehumanize somebody else because they're just doing a job, they're making an honest
Yeah.
living,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
you know? So here it is something that is very, very not touched upon because people are very afraid of it, but those are the same people who will actually go and seek out their services. And
Right.
that's why I actually even I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Stromae. Have you heard his latest songs?
Who?
Stromae is he's a Rwandan French, no, is it French or Belgian? Rwandan French artist, and he recently did a song about sex workers.
Oh,
And if you just listen and just go listen to the video and also read the lyrics because he is one of the best lyrical composers out there. And the way that he
how do you spell
tells
that
this
artist's
story,
name? Uh huh.
Moose,
STROMAE.
Musa, your
A.
audio is a little choppy, but I think it could be your
Okay, hold on,
internet,
hold on.
maybe.
Oh, this person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You ever seen them?
No.
I've seen them somewhere.
Okay.
Oh, no, I can't hear you.
Now, is it okay?
Yeah,
Uh, Give
keep
us a full
talking.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, keep talking to me.
Yeah, it's the song is Feel de Joie.
Yeah, I think that sounds way better. Is that okay for
Yeah,
you?
that's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is better. Actually, the rain has stopped,
Oh,
so
okay.
Oh, that could
we
explain.
should
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'll have to
interesting.
look that up.
Yeah. So I was. It's good that we've got artists now who are expressing that, and like popular artists, right? Like, because
Mhm.
there was always an underground scene of people who were up to date, let's say,
Yeah.
with their empathy,
We're
right?
we're just a bit behind.
Right. The
Well,
rest of
not a bit. We're
society
way
is
behind.
catching up.
Well, that's what I think we wanted to really get to is we have been seeing a lot of
Yeah.
discussion, and in this discussion, making people who are, if the reason that you're upset with what happened, like I said, is because of how funds were used, whatever. Like I'm not here to tell you
Lloyd's
how.
behavior. Yeah.
Right. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about that person's behavior. And
Right.
I personally am not going to judge their behavior. I don't
It's
really
whatever.
give.
Yeah. It doesn't
Yeah, I
even
don't
matter.
really care too much. It doesn't affect me personally. If
Mhm.
it bothers you, that's a different subject. But if that is your issue, if that is truly your issue, that you feel like that he did something illegal or something harmful, then why would you then in turn use verbiage that is
Right.
harmful and oppressive to those people who you are claiming to be upset about
Right.
because of what happened?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's, well, I don't,
Yeah.
it
Wait,
isn't
hold on,
fair.
hold on. What actually happened? Because I've literally been
Oh,
So
steering
okay,
away from this whole
to
story.
here, you want
Yeah.
to just read the.
to summarize it really quick, just he cheated on his wife
Yeah.
with
Uh-huh.
prostitutes for a
Yeah.
few years.
Uh-huh.
And then everyone started talking about sex workers, and that's why we are here. But that's basically
Yeah,
just-
like.
there's other parts of the story, but that's what got the ball rolling.
Right, and like,
Yeah.
if anybody's gonna argue with us about terminology or what is actually true, Lloyd our video specifically has a full statement that we made, which is a single sentence that summarizes the entire situation, even as he has admitted to, which is that, and I'm reading the sentence now. Lloyd Evans cheated on his wife using patron money to solicit sex workers in Thailand and elsewhere.
There
Right?
you go.
That just summarizes in a single sentence, this is the thing that happened. But the question then is, okay, like, people are mad about him using the patron money. That's entirely, I don't care about that conversation. So I wasn't a patron. If they're mad about it, if they're not mad about it, that's entirely their
I
prerogative.
don't give money to people unless I want to give money to people. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just don't
like
give
you
money to
do,
people
you do
unless
you
I
on
know
that.
the
But
people.
like
Yeah.
then the conversation afterwards is like, haha, Lloyd's such an idiot because sex workers, or they won't even use sex workers. They'll use harsher terminology. They'll say things
Exactly.
like they'll say
And
like
then
Yeah.
prostitute is like a nice way to say it. Sometimes they'll just be like, he was
Yeah.
visiting whores, and it's like
Yeah.
that's a very hurtful word that people
Uh-huh.
don't like, right? I'm sorry I said it, but I was, I wasn't
But
calling
no,
anyone
that's
that.
the-
But that's the word they'll use, and like people will also say they'll slut shame, or they'll be like, I think it's like there was a video you showed me that you said was really interesting. It was one of his patrons who was kind of a big deal, who specifically said it was a problem because sex workers are at a higher risk of spreading STDs. And,
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was a really strange argument because, one, it's not like Lloyd is going to give people a bunch of STDs.
yeah.
Also, sex work, if it's well regulated,
If we could
Just
get
like-
it decriminalized,
if it's
we could
decriminalized,
start-
then those people don't have to worry about those things. And also, sex workers don't want to spread STDs. They're not in the business to do that. So, like, if they have one, they try to get treated
But yeah, that's
because
the,
they're humans.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most common like insult that's been going around. Like there was a big buzz kind of when like this like streaming couple or something, they did a video reacting to the Lloyd thing, and like the first joke out of the gate was like, oh, why would you do that, you're gonna get so many icky diseases.
Right.
And like that's like so many
That's
people's
what
like
I'm-
go-to thing, and that's
It's not funny.
what's it's the most
No.
frustrating part, because like I could see it just because of how our society is. You think it's like like it's just a fine joke to make.
like boom in your face, ha ha
Oh.
ha.
Right,
Yeah.
it's
But
okay.
it is not.
It's considered fine to make jokes about sex workers and STDs as though, like, I mean, imagine if we did that with other jobs, right? Like, somebody who works in a machine shop is at risk of getting their fingers cut off. If Lloyd cheated on his main machine shop guy with someone in Thailand who manufactured something for him, and then you made jokes like, "Oh, Lloyd, you might lose a finger." That wouldn't be funny. That would be nothing. That's not even a joke.
Yeah.
And we understand completely like why people are upset in regards to is activism. Like that's why I'm not upset with anybody for feeling how
For
they
leaving
feel.
it, yeah.
Yeah. If you
And
don't
like,
wanna-
yeah, and is it Jay? Yeah, Jay. We're totally on board, right? Like, if you're mad about that, that's totally fine. That's why we want to just talk about sex work thing. This is like kind of a very narrow section of the conversation.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Musa, is it any different in regards to like language, just as far as like, I don't want you to say slang words, but like, is the terminology any different over there, or is it pretty much the same kind of jokey, don't treat- disrespectful?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, I can't speak for a lot of people, but I can say that it is disrespectful to some extent.
Yeah.
Even when you have the local slang words, when you hear when people make insults to each other and call each other that word, you're like, that is not, it doesn't make sense, even with regards to this whole situation. It's like, human beings have this superiority complex that I don't know, they've been fed for centuries or millions of years. I don't know for how long, but they have this superiority complex where they feel like, oh my god, you're a fucking sex worker. Like,
Right.
so when you poko, in Swahili means you're a whore, and the way people will ask it, it's in a way that actually makes the person feel like they should be ashamed of what they're doing.
Right.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like that whole of like, look, I'm better than you because I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a mentality that just doesn't work because
And
we're
they-
all things. Yeah.
They do it
No.
with people who do like labor jobs, or what
Yeah.
they would call
Exactly.
menial jobs, or which aren't like all jobs need to be done. You need someone to bag your groceries. You need someone to collect the carts. You need, I mean, like every job is a job, and every job we sell our body for
Right.
time.
Attention.
Yeah. and we get money in return.
I think
What?
it's like that's something too. Like, there's a lot of discourse I've seen, like even just like in like the general YouTube community with some channels I watch, where they'll talk about like some Twitch streamers who like are more like, I don't know, just like are sexier. Like that's just like their part of their whole thing, and they'll like look down on them because it's like, oh well, they didn't earn it. They're just being hot on screen.
Right. They
But
sit there on
meanwhile-
camera and ask for donations, and they're just hot on stream.
Meanwhile, there are lots of, but like every content creator, they're doing whatever they're doing, and people like watching them do it and give them money to do it.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it's just interesting that people feel there's like something more valuable in how you entertain people when like
And I-
that's what you're doing.
And with the whole like OnlyFans and people being able to have the power in their hands to earn the money and not like need the, you know, have a necessity to have somebody like be a pimp or whatever
Yeah.
you call it. People seem to be so angry about that. Like, oh, you got OnlyFans. Yeah. And they're making
know,
money
Mhm.
I think
and you're
I
not.
think there's a reason why people are angry, because people put this guy on a pedestal. So when he
True.
turned out to be something that they
And that
cannot
is
even
problematic.
accept, yeah, so they're like, no way, he can't be this type of person. He has to be the type of person that I have created the image in my
Yeah.
head. So that's why they're this angry, and that's why this story will just continue dragging on. Because
But-
honestly, any sensible person can just stop being a Patreon if they want to stop watching
Right.
his video.
But see,
But
like,
acknowledge
I'm
the
done.
good work. Yeah, but acknowledge the good work that he has done. Like he has made videos or content that has helped
Yeah.
and will help.
I mean,
others.
here's the thing though. Like, I think it's really odd though, because like, you know, if they're mad about, they're worried about, like Jay said, you know, his credibility moving forward, and you know, he's doing CSA activism, and on the other side, he's engaging with an industry in Thailand, which is known for trafficking, human trafficking, and child trafficking, and sex trafficking, and that's not good. But what's interesting to me is that people are then redirecting that anger from him onto the prostitutes, onto the sex workers, onto the
Exactly.
people, and like they don't even realize they're doing it because they're engaging
Exactly.
in a sort of like instinctual, not even instinctual, a sort of reflexive disgust reaction to behavior that they have learned is bad. But it's not innate that we think sex work is bad. I mean, like, if you think about it, they talk about prostitution being the oldest profession, and the reason they talk about that is because,
Biblical times.
I mean, go further back. Look
Oh,
at
yeah.
cavemen, right? Cavemen, maybe, I mean, like, bonobos today and in the past, they use sex as a currency to get things done.
I've heard
right?
that.
And so, like,
I've
humans
heard
are
that.
just animals that engage in sex sometimes, and we use it as a currency
We
sometimes.
just stood up and stood up.
And it's our modern sensibilities, and really it's like the structures that we've put on ourselves, that we built for ourselves, like our religious instructions, that have told us that
problem.
women's bodies are bad if they're naked, and that if a woman's body is given to someone for money, that's somehow worse than a woman's body given for not money, and that's still worse than a woman's body not given at all.
Because we're property, and that
Right.
is the heart of the issue. Is Lex, you and me, we're just property. Like,
Right.
when it comes down to it, that is how we are seen in the Bible. The entirety of that Bible is transactional.
Right.
That's-
Women are chattel slaves.
It's and so people step away from these fundamentalist religions like Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormonism, whatever, but they still
They
teach,
carry that baggage and that indoctrination with them.
right.
I think it's
And it's like that's not even just the XJW community. That's also like we as a society, our
Yeah.
Western society was very religious and is now more secular than it was before, but we still carry the baggage. And it's the same thing as racism that's inherited. Structural racism and systemic racism are inherited because we just learned from people who also had these messed up ideas about how things work. And so even if we're more aware or empathetic than our ancestors were, or that our grandparents or whatever, we're still carrying with us the baggage. Every day I'm unlearning things that I learned as a child. You know, I'm realizing that there is not, like, cringe, for example. Cringe culture is like a big thing on the internet, right? But, like, who cares if someone's cringe? Like, genuinely. Is there a moral reason for me to care if someone is cringe? Is there a moral reason for me to care that somebody is a sex worker? There isn't a moral reason for me to give any kind of crap at all. Except that I have a moral reason to care if they live, if they get killed, or if they get hurt, you know, or if their feelings are hurt. I have moral reasons for those things, so why would I not step up and say, hey, stop making fun of sex workers, they're just people.
I think it's also part, like, and this is something that, like, I'm sure lots of communities have, but this is something that, like, I noticed, especially in growing up a witness my whole life, is that, like, because this is going to be such a roundabout way, but I promise I have a point. Okay, so they tell everybody, like, you know, you just need to have, like, a menial job. Don't go to school. Don't get a higher education. And that feeds into this thing where so many devout witnesses are just, like, looking for any reason to be above anybody else. And, like, because it's like,
because you're not allowed to seek
like,
success in a job.
Like, my dad, when we lived in California, he had, like, a really good paying job. Like, we were, like, whatever. We always had, like, people at our house for, like, gatherings and stuff. Also, like, people, like, would always, like, basically ask him for money, and he would, like, help them as much as he could. But then, like, he wasn't an elder or anything, and so there were elders who, like, were not living as, like, financially well as him, and I noticed how they would always find ways to, like, make him feel less than. Just, like, any chance they could. And that's, like, the same kind of mentality that I see when I look at how people are talking about sex workers.
Yeah, so. No, I get it. No, I get it, but they just seem to have this ability to look down and turn their nose down based on some presupposed conditions that they've been conditioned, basically.
Right, and it seems obvious to them, and it seemed obvious to me at the time, or before I started realizing and started unpacking, like, all this stuff that I'd learned as a child. But like Musa said earlier, like, you know, it's not good to make fun of, you know, whatever, you know, say these rude things about sex workers. And, like, I don't think I would have made this argument, but I can totally see people making the argument that, maybe I would have, people making the argument that, like, yeah, there is something, you shouldn't encourage it. Why shouldn't you encourage it? Well, because it's bad. Why is it bad? Well, because, and then they'll start using the post-rationalizations, like
it's STDs. Or something.
Yeah, exactly. Being illegal does not make something immoral.
Right.
Immorality and illegality are two separate things.
This is illegal some places.
Right.
Shouldn't be illegal.
Right. I mean, like, the existence of literally any right is, if it's restricted in another place, you can, it's illegal over there. Does that make it wrong over there? If I cross a border, does it suddenly become evil that I did this thing?
Interracial marriage was only, like, very recently legal in
America. And apparently it's back in question, according to the Supreme, the senator, whatever that senator's name was, from Indiana.
McConnell?
No, there was a senator from Indiana who did an interview a couple weeks ago where they asked him what his thoughts were on, what was it? He was basically advocating that states should have the right to restrict certain things, and then he said they asked, so would you say the same thing for interracial marriage? And he said, yeah, I don't think the federal government, it would be hypocritical for me to say that the federal government should weigh in on that, so the states should have the right to outlaw interracial marriage. And I'm like,
this is where we're headed.
Bud, you said the inside part outside, you crazy person, what are you doing?
Like 2 steps forward, but then 4 steps backwards sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of decisions that they're making, even with the whole Florida
don't say gay.
Don't say gay law, yeah.
And I'm like, Why? Why are they going 2 steps forward but then 4 steps
And it's
back?
because we all have these presuppositions that we don't necessarily have good logical grounding for, but we have a feeling that it's true, right? And so like they think, okay, well, it's important that we rule that women are women and men are men, and that trans people can't be in sports. But like, does it matter at all? Like, does it matter even a little bit? I couldn't give less of a shit about high school sports in some other city with some other kid. Like, who cares?
Right.
I didn't even care about my high school sports when I was in high school. Why would I give a shit about someone else's high school sports? If a trans person wants to play some sport, good for them. Like,
I think it's like
win, lose, I don't care.
I think it's really weird, like, and this is just as like just a minority in like most demographics that like I noticed that like people who aren't in the minority feel like they need to hold on to that position like it actually has work.
Yeah.
Because it's weird because I'm like, you know, not even like I'm just sitting here oppressed quietly, but like I've gotten used to just like living my own life, doing my own thing. So like even if you like don't like
gotta
sex
interject.
work or you don't like black people or you don't like gay people, if you feel like they're what freak shows, if you really feel that way, why can't you feel that way over there?
Yeah.
Because
By
I'm being
yourself.
because I'm being
You're entitled to that feeling alone,
Like,
in your head. Shut the hell up.
like I'm living my life here and I don't care. You can hate me there. I'll leave you alone because
Yeah.
I don't want you either. We'll just call it a day. But it's just really fascinating to me, like, when you hear outrage, it's really because they're like, well, we were on top and we want to stay there.
And like, they don't think of it that way. Of course, they don't think of it that way, or at least they don't say they think of it that way. Maybe some of them do. But like, I know I didn't think of it that way. Before, like, there was a period of my life where I wouldn't say I was alt-right, but I was kind of
Really?
adjacent to alt-right. So like,
Wow.
I was
Okay.
part of the atheist skeptic community, and that community kind of sharded into a lot of the parts of the alt-right and Gamergate and all that stuff. And so like, I was watching a lot of those people before becoming anti-SJW. SJW was the like popular thing, right? And so like, and that's kind of moved on. But like, I was in those circles, in those communities. I knew a lot of those people, and I was kind of like, I don't care about these issues. I don't know why you're talking about social politics here. I don't really care about feminism. I
Yeah.
don't care about these things. And like, the reason I didn't care was because I didn't have to care. Right? I'm not a trans person, so why should I care what trans people do? It's like, why are we talking about this if it's not, like, you know, like, it doesn't affect me, so I shouldn't be part of the conversation? Well, that's not true. The fact of the matter is, because I'm in society, I am part of the conversation, and my silence is the same thing as saying, yeah, go ahead and be bigoted. Because there's bigots, and there's people being oppressed, and then there's me being silent and not doing anything about it.
And that's
I
and
think,
just like the secular rarity. Thank you for chilling with this secular rarity.
yeah, I
if
really
you
like
wanna-
everything you said.
If you want to come on, I mean, you can pop on the live too if you want to. But yeah, hey, let's criminalize people for bigoted thoughts. But
Right.
if they have no problem for wanting to criminalize people just for living their lives. I mean, we're just simply trying to enjoy the paradise
The paradise we have, yeah.
that God created for us, but somehow we are unfortunately under human rule in their societal constructs. And
Question, Ryan, and I don't want to get down the rabbit hole here. Are you a believer? Do you believe in God?
no,
Okay.
no, I mean, I think there could be something out there,
Yeah.
but you know, because is it possible that there's different planets out there that could sustain life? Yeah, I don't freaking know. But do I think that it's the God of the Bible? No.
Yeah, I think that's based.
I mean, that's pretty definitive, yeah.
Yeah.
That's- You couldn't be that God,
Now
if there is a God.
Yeah, no, because I don't trust dudes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now, I mean, like demons. Now that's something like I definitely want to get into. Demons are something I definitely want to like try to connect with, like maybe talk to. But I just don't think they're. I don't think
Really?
they exist. Yeah, because I don't think they exist.
Oh, okay. I was curious. I was like, you don't believe in a God, but you do believe in.
Well,
Okay.
because here's the thing: if I attempt to reach out to them, they will have to reach out to me because
Not necessarily.
no, because if you're a Christian, they will possess you just for watching.
Well,
Disney
sure.
Oh,
movies
that's true.
and
yeah.
Harry Potter.
All right.
Yeah, it's
So if I entice a demon, I don't know. With, I don't know with what I got.
You're like, I don't know. Demons? Anybody?
Okay, this is totally.
You instinctively, you didn't think money, you didn't think, like, my soul. You went like,
I am ready for the sex work to get the demons.
let's get it done.
They get it done, man. I'm sorry.
This is no okay, but before we totally leave this tangent, you just reminded me of this story. I was like looking through Craigslist missed connections one time, and I saw this one, and it was just a letter from this woman. And I wish I had kept a screenshot of it. It was the best thing I ever saw. It was this woman literally breaking up with her sex ghost.
Yeah. So she was saying that she had an ongoing sex relationship with a ghost in her home.
But
and
it was
the
getting
way
to
that
be
she
too
wanted to
much,
break
she
up with the
needed-
ghost was she posted on Craigslist and said, "This isn't for anybody living. It's a ghost in my home, and I want them to get the message."
But it was too that it was like, I know what you mean well, but like it's too much for me.
You're very overwhelming sexually. You're very powerful. I'm sure you'll find someone else in your long afterlife.
So you just reminded me.
It was
Okay, see, this is what I don't understand. Like, okay, I know we're like so off topic. I don't mean to get off topic. But like, if we're talking about like demons and Satan, right? Okay, these are beings who obviously are supernatural, and a demon is just as powerful as Satan. I mean, they're an angel. So they all have the same exact supernatural powers. So what doesn't make sense to me is that it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know.
I think it's interesting you say that because there's two different ways I would like to go with that. On one hand, I'm like, imagine if you said that, but about like things from Star Wars. Is everybody here familiar with Star Wars?
Kind of.
A little bit, right? So like if I said like an Ewok
yeah,
and a stormtrooper are the same because they both can shoot weapons and they have, and like you would say like no, because like in Star Wars an Ewok is much smaller, they have different properties, but at the end of the day they both don't exist. So like they're just labels for ideas. So like a demon or like the devil or Satan, they're all just ideas. Right? You have to first prove that these things exist before you can start attributing qualities to them. So, like, is a demon gonna be better at sex or worse at sex with me, hopefully, than Satan? I don't know. The only way I'm gonna find out is if I get to have sex with both.
Well, I'll let you know, because if I can somehow...
And I'll let you know! If I get the opportunity.
If we all agree here that whoever gets sex with a demon first will report back here immediately. Yeah. Well, it's like an American Pie.
Can I make an addendum? If we get to have sex with a demon, we then have to recommend the demon either go have sex with the others, assuming you guys want to, or get some demon friends to do it.
Yeah, we
got packed.
Okay, cool, great. We're all in this together.
Send them my way, Musa. If you get them first, you then send them my way.
Yeah,
that's what I just don't understand. It's like people say things about like demons, but demon is just an angel. If we listen to biblical logic, I just don't.
I would kind of like to. Because I don't remember. Did you end up doing the demon problem stream yesterday?
Me? No, I didn't. But I do want to do that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe this weekend.
Just a quick.
I don't know how to tell you this, but it is this weekend. And we're currently talking about demons. We may be here already. I don't want to alarm you. We may already be talking about demons.
Got there.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
But I think it's just the one thing, and then we can leave demons alone. Is just like growing.
Will they leave us alone though?
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But
Like
Yeah.
these humans, they think it's hilarious. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna possess you so hard.
Please do.
Right?
That would be an interesting experience. Please
Tag
do.
I
demon.
want it to happen, and it just doesn't seem to happen for
Like
me.
I earnestly,
don't know.
yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
a demon could make, if a demon exists and can possess me, it could make me do something truly terrible. But like, I got nothing going on this weekend. I'm free.
Oh my gosh. I think, you know what I think? I feel like, the fact that there aren't like that many fun demon possessions going on, like they're always like evil and insidious. But like, what about the movie where two demons like possess a married couple just to make them fight? Or like just like or like they possess a sports team
Yeah.
and
And
another
make them
sports
do
team.
good just to like have fun.
And then, like, they leave them, and then they're suddenly terrible. They lose the.
Yeah.
That's how underdog sports movies should end.
Yeah.
See, we need to have our own production company. Musa, were you saying something?
Yeah, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
It's entirely different in this.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's fair.
What demons have been painted to be is like nothing. You understand? It's like, oh, you guys have reduced these powerful spiritual beings to this thing.
Yeah.
But here it is more of like, if there's things you don't fuck with, but there are things you fuck with. You will acknowledge that they're there, but if you go seeking out for them, they will fucking get you.
Yeah.
And there are cases where people, even within families, even within Jehovah's Witness families, they know of a relative who went and seeked for help to get material possessions, and
Yeah.
a sacrifice had to be done. And it's a human life. So at that point, you get to a point you're like, there are things you need to mess with, but you don't need to mess with. And there are people who are literally malicious here. If you ever mess with them in a traditional sense, they will go and do their weird hoodoo stuff or juju stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's cool.
But that is something that has been demonized
Yeah.
because of
Right.
Christianity. You understand?
Right.
Because there's a way you can connect to the spirits in a different way than in just a negative way. There are negative spirits.
Yeah.
There are other spirits that actually help communities and everything.
Right.
And everything for that. That's why a lot of witches and were very highly regarded in like ancient African cultures.
Yeah.
Because they could communicate with these spirits and
Yeah.
probably gain favor for like a bountiful harvest or anything like that. But Christianity came and told us that demons are people who possess you, and then I don't know, something
Make you do bad things. Yeah.
and do bad things, and then you're like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, because at that point you're so fearful. You're like, there's always a demon watching, pouncing, getting ready to be like, today's the day I fuck you up. Today's the day you will know I'm around here. But then it's not there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting too, because you know, Alexi was telling me she knew so many people. Everybody has a demon problem story, and I find that so fascinating because like I've never encountered anything that I would ever consider to be supernatural. Like, genuinely never have. I would like to see something supernatural. Never have. There's always like not even anything interesting. The world is pretty boring.
You know what? Every time I swear to, okay, so like I grew up around like hearing demons all the time. My mom will tell you demon stories. So I just knew they were real growing up.
Right.
So I would sleep under the covers. Like if I heard a noise, it was a demon, so that was just kind of my life. So I always believed them. And I, believed like the JW stuff that they would tell you things in your head. And, that kind of stuff sticks with you as a child. And now looking back, the things that my mom thought were demons, like a door opening, like we lived in an old trailer.
Yeah.
Like
if you're on a hill, that's all it takes to like open a door.
Those 1970s old trailers that are on like cinder blocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's things that like I look back now, going like all those experiences, like, and the reason she was afraid was because she was told. So of course, she saw things to be demons that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't want to judge her. I wasn't there.
Right.
but anyway, but you get conditioned to that stuff and you just believe it. And like Musa, you were saying like about hoodoo or voodoo or Santeria, things of that nature have been weaponized by Christians when, you know, really we could look at Christianity. We do look at Christianity. We can see the casting spells and they mess with, I mean, this is all work. They fuck with demons all the time.
It's literally a spell.
Yeah.
So basically they using spells, working with spirits, and some do more than other faiths do.
No.
But it's the same thing, but they are bigger numbers, so they're able to weaponize their beliefs and harm people just because they simply don't agree. Just like people who don't agree with sex work or, you know, use derogatory language about sex work, make it a joke. People make jokes about like hoodoo and voodoo.
Nice transition, by the way.
Oh, did you like that?
That was smooth. That was real smooth.
Woo! Woo! Yeah, good bullshit.
Yeah.
No, but
Got
really,
this train back on the rails.
but it really but it does it. It's all weaponized by this culture of
No.
Yeah, purity culture is
purity
really
culture.
Purity culture, I think, is super dangerous. Just because of how it's like very blatantly affected how we. Hold on.
Bring back the Nephilim. Might just cause another flood all over again.
and you know what? I was thinking about that because the Nephilim were because angels had sex with humans, supposedly. So, I mean, that was angels having sex with humans, which is the same thing as demons having sex with humans because it's just, so it must feel good. I mean, it must have been.
Not only must it feel good, it must be really gratifying to know that, like, an angel came down to have sex with me? Me!
I was chosen.
I feel great today.
That's the other thing too, though. Like, you know, just like to have like a mini Bible study here for a second. Like, you are, but like that, I think that account is so weird because like even in like the book and in the like my book of Bible stories, it was always very unclear to me if they knew they were with angels because like. Then, because you're just like with some guy, it's like, wow, like he doesn't know anybody, doesn't have a job,
Right,
no,
just some
like
big-
no, he's just
Perfect 10.
yeah, he's just shown up out of nowhere, and now I have this
fucking
giant baby.
I mean, it's like the old joke, you know. Like I've never fucked a 10, but I've fucked 5 2s. I mean, yeah, I mean, like an angel comes out, wants to fuck me. I'm like, I'm asexual. Yeah, sure, okay, I'll do it.
I mean, now if they look like the ones in the Bible say they do with the
Yeah, that
eyes,
definitely, for sure. How do you do that?
Well, hey, you know, I do think I'm probably pansexual, so you know what? I should not judge. That might be cool too.
I think it would be
eyelashes. Tickle your little bit.
all thousands, millions of their eyelashes, and I'm suddenly like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness gracious, collar tug. Hey, let's just make this a pact right now. We'll have a video record of it. If you're ever confronted with an angel or a demon, and they're like, you gotta choose. You want to have sex right now? You don't get to talk to your husband? Just go for it.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I
just
thought
go
that
for it.
was already part of the first demon.
Okay.
Like that.
I just wanted to make it, like, clear.
As long as the only way it's a problem is if we don't come back on stream to confirm that.
Right,
happened.
then I would be mad. I would for sure be
If
mad
I
if you
just-
didn't tell us
Yeah,
about
if
it.
I was just holding out on you guys, I wouldn't do that.
That would be rude. That would just be rude.
Yeah, we find out like a year later you've been hogging the angel. Like,
Yeah.
he like just like.
I think you
lives
mean
in
the angel's
bed.
been hogging her.
But
oh, that could go so many different ways. Oh boy.
Anyway, we ruined your transition. You were going back to sex work.
But, well, you know, I just hope that, I know this has been like an interesting conversation. I just really hope that what people get is that, like, if you're trying to be an advocate in this situation, then you really need to, like, check yourself and, like, look in the mirror. Wait, what?
Sorry, it's so what she said.
It's a kidney.
No kidding.
Might have a kidney stone after that one.
Yeah.
Ouchies.
And I
Oh my
think
god.
A holy
think,
kidney
like,
stone.
and like our conversation, I feel like shows like we're not like you can make jokes about like sexual topics,
Yeah.
obviously, but
This
like
is all funny
notice,
shit.
yeah, but like there's a difference between
We're
like you
funny.
can look back, yeah, we actually are funny, but you can look back on everything we said and like there's no like really butt of the joke. Or like we're not like degrading a whole group of people by default. We're just like
I mean, like, if there's a
Have
butt
it
to the joke, the
fun.
butt would be the person making, like, right? Like, if I'm like, demons come on down, that's like, the thing that's funny about it is that I'm being so open and subverting the
Right.
expectation that I would be closed off about my sexuality or whatever. But, like,
Right.
but that's
We're,
not
like,
like hurting
open arms.
anybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, at the end of the day, like, eventually, if we really achieve an actually sex-positive society, maybe that won't be funny, right?
Yeah, it might be like, what? What? Huh?
Or I guess to be fair, part of the joke also is that if we encounter an angel, the first thing that we want to do with it is fuck it, not talk to it about God. Right?
That's true. Like,
Right?
it shows
Like,
up,
we don't want to get any answers at all. We just want to fuck the angel.
They're like, okay, so like, you know, I came down. God is real.
Is there anything you'd like to know, my child? How big you got? Like, what you packing? That's what I want to know.
Who got in there?
You
The
know?
other conversation is pillow talk.
But yeah. Move your 80 wings out of the way so I can see what you got going on downstairs. Not in hell. I don't mean downstairs like in hell. I mean what you have. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's possible to be funny and not be shitty to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, actually, it's interesting you say that. There's a video by Sarah Zed, the Panopticon it's her most recent video. She talked about how internet, not specifically about cancel culture, but about when people look at somebody who is doing something genuinely shitty and then everybody dogpiles on them online, and it like really ruins their life and like the way that can go wrong. And one of the things she said in that video that really gave me some pause was she said,
my
"Oh, cool."
God.
Hi.
You've been
Hey.
sitting there. I'm so
Hello.
sorry. Oh my god.
Oh gosh, you probably had so many jokes to say too.
I am so.
I thought we were on like in 45 minutes from now.
Oh, well, we just started early.
I feel so
Whoopsie.
bad, Jonathan. I haven't been paying attention. How long have
It's
you
all
been
right.
there?
Oh, only like a minute, so that's cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh.
God.
Oh no.
I told them, I told Lex and Bob and Musa that I'm really terrible with introductions. It's just not something I'm used to. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. But Jonathan,
Hey, how's it going?
thank
Jonathan.
you, Jonathan. Was that Captain Jonathan? That wasn't Lemmy, was it?
No,
Oh. Captain
I can
John.
be Fire Marshal Bill, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
What? Anyway.
Nice how you. Yeah, exactly.
What I was going to say was that Sarah said that there have been many times where she regrets being snarky on the internet, but she's never regretted being kind on the internet.
Right.
And, like, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, that's right. I've spent a lot of my 20s being snarky on the internet. I spent a lot of my 20s on the internet, and a lot of that time I spent being snarky. And there's really, like, I could just not. I could just not, right? I could just be more sincere, more kind, and I genuinely wouldn't regret it. Because, like, even if I'm kind to somebody who isn't kind in return to me, I can just be like, okay.
Right. No, you're right. And there's many times I walk away from a situation. I'm like,
I could have been better.
yeah. And if I'm too kind, I never question that. But if I'm a little
Yeah.
too mean, then I do. Well,
Yeah, and,
Jonathan-
like, obviously that also implies you need to be using wisdom, but, like,
right.
yeah.
But Jonathan, the audience is dying to know if
Oh, right.
you would have sex with an angel or not.
Yeah.
Angel
Or a demon.
or demon.
Or some other neutral
This is
supernatural
a hot
being.
topic.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know,
It sounds like some sort of like B track from Guns N' Roses. Sex with an angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
me down to have sex with an angel or a demon. I don't care. It sounds real good. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, what you're in the hot seat now. What would
Oh,
you
okay.
have sex with an angel?
No, I
Or
don't think it would.
demon.
Really?
Demon.
No.
What'd you
Angel
say?
shows up, they said no.
Oh, you don't want to?
I don't have a deity fetish.
I mean,
We're like, I think we're more in it for like just like the curiosity, like get that like inquiry scratch.
yeah, like, would you have sex with an alien?
Certainly they were.
No, I'm just curious. Would you?
What are you trying to imply?
I'm just saying, like, it's not a human, but it's also not an animal. It's clearly a conscious, thinking being,
But is that
and it
cheating?
wants to have sex with you. Is it cheating? That depends on your relationship.
Yeah, we made the pact together, so we're
Right.
clear.
That doesn't violate the rules of our relationship.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, I would probably not.
Okay.
And that's fine. We're not judging here. We just were curious.
We would
It's a
judge you.
question.
We would judge you if you did end up having sex with an angel and then did not tell us about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That we would be upset about.
That's the one rule we have
I'll be
here.
selfish.
That would just be rude and selfish.
Yeah.
You also have to refer the angel or demon
to
demon
the
just in
circle.
case
And
they're both
this also,
in
if
on
you
it.
had
One
sex
time
already.
in Paris.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. Paris, huh?
Ay. Well, Jonathan, do you? I'm sorry, I don't mean to like change
No worries.
subjects, but since we were talking about the
I got a lot of
topic was
catching up to
sex
do.
work. Yeah, the topic was sex work, and the point
Yeah.
is we're just trying to show that there's a lot of talk going along, a lot of opinions. That's fine,
Yeah.
but the negative connotation with the sex
Right.
work and the way they're making sex workers the butt of the joke while trying to say they're advocating for like
Right.
the math to me isn't mathing, and I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose. People are imperfect. I slip all the time. I say things and realize like, oh shit, I can't.
That was
say
actually rude. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
People make
yeah.
mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Well, they're portrayed negatively pretty well, in the media and everywhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think even if you don't necessarily have an opinion on it, you might just kind of be, whoops, where did I go?
No, you're still here.
You're here.
We're still here and see you.
Oh, there we go.
Can you see us? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't lose you.
There's some gaming going on right now, so the bandwidth is thin.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, we
Yeah.
still got you.
I forgot what I was saying now.
I just asked you.
In the media, they portray them
Yeah, you were
negatively,
saying.
and so even if you don't have a negative opinion,
Yeah,
about
so
them,
even if you don't have an opinion, you might just sort of be, it's part of the zeitgeist. It's just sort of that's in the back of your head. Oh yeah, that's bad.
right? Yeah.
But like personally myself, it's fine if you choose to do that or you choose not to. That's your own personal decision. No one should crap on you for doing that.
Right.
Like myself, I probably wouldn't use the services, but that's just me.
Right.
But that's
And
not.
like, see, the thing is, like,
That's not the issue.
I
That's
don't.
not the issue exactly.
I don't want to. I don't want to be combative with you, Jonathan. But I think even the way you phrased it just there can be. Sometimes people will phrase it that way, but internally, what they're thinking is, "I wouldn't do it because ick," and like internally, that's what they're thinking, even though they won't. They don't say
Even
it.
if that's
And
not
like
what you said,
that's
you said-
that. Even just thinking that. Like, I'm not saying I'm trying to police people's thoughts,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just saying. If somebody's thinking that
I
way,
had
they need to
thought about that. Yeah, I
reevaluate,
can see what
right?
you're saying.
Because like at the end of the day, if I said that, like you said, I wouldn't do it, but you can. If I said that about eating fruit roll-ups, you'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, what are you? It's not even. I don't even know
No,
why
I
we're
get what
discussing
you're-
this.
right.
You
No,
know,
I
like
get what you're saying.
I engage. If I ask for somebody to knit me a sweater on Etsy, no one thinks there's anything weird about that. They're like, "Oh, you like sweaters? Cool." But like, if I ask a sex worker to engage in sex with me for
Right.
money, that is suddenly something that like. Oh, I probably wouldn't do it, but like you can, and like
Like,
that sort of
that's not
judgment
what
is
you
still
said at
baked
all.
into that sort of thing. Not saying that's what you were doing, but I think a lot of
No, no.
people use the same
yeah.
rhetoric, use the same language that you did, but they intend something more nefarious or more
Like in a
judgmental.
judgment.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying don't yuck somebody's yum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No yum yuck.
that-
Yum yucking is illegal.
Right.
Not yum yuck. I like
Yeah.
that. Oh, I need. That's like a good shirt. Somebody probably has that with like a
So,
tongue.
yeah.
Do not
Don't-
yum.
Well, I think "don't yuck people's yum" is
Don't
I think
yuck people's yum.
yeah,
I like
that's
that.
the phrase. I just
That's
like
good.
saying "yum yucking" because it's a weird way to say it.
No, that's kind
Indeed.
of like I like weird ways.
Yeah.
I like weird ways. That's my thing. But yeah, we're seeing just a lot of like Reddit terrible. I've
Yeah.
seen some stuff on Twitter, and I'm just like, oh, scroll. Like I don't
Right.
even want to get involved.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm gonna get tired, like having to constantly feel like I gotta reply to these people saying like, can you just like chill out with your
That's why I deleted my
language?
Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
like,
genuinely
I
why I
don't
delete.
blame you.
I realized after a particularly awful Twitter interaction more than a year ago that like every time I got on Twitter while I was like in the bathroom or like waiting for something, I would get on Twitter and I would leave Twitter 20 minutes later feeling worse. Like no matter what I did, no matter what I saw, I could see something really funny and then I would scroll down and feel terrible. Like I just deleted my Twitter.
But you have to ask yourself, does Twitter encourage you? Does it upbuild you? I'm trying to do my David Splane
I was
impersonation.
gonna
No, that's pretty good. I got it. Yeah.
But I think the key to a good David Splane is you have to talk about Babylon.
Babble.
He says Babylon for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know what is. You mean I think
Babble.
they are all on knocking on something's door. I'm not going to say heaven, but they're knocking on a door and don't have for long. And I have heard. I don't remember which video, but I watched somebody's video, and it seems like now it's in the JW community. I guess they've heard all about like the whole thing.
Oh, like the helpers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the helper's taking over.
Yeah, what I think is really interesting about that is like that kind of made me think about the governing body, and I'm like, okay, so like, because I think there's always a debate on like, okay, are they just trying to get people's money? Do they believe this in any sense?
Right,
But,
like how much of a grift is it?
Yeah, but like that kind
Explain
of
more.
really raised the question for me, because if you don't really believe that, and you're not like planning to just like run away to like some island or something with all the money,
Oh, are they?
If you
What's your
want-
exit
They might
strategy?
be.
but they're letting the helpers take over. But like, how morbid is that? If you don't believe that it's real, you're just like, well, you're not going to be seeing us soon, so these are who's going to help you when we're gone. And like,
Right.
you guys all had a meeting where you talked about, well, we got to let the sheep know that we're gonna die soon. It's just very morbid.
The tactical beauty of having a cult is that you can just write new light to make it make sense. Nothing
Yeah,
you
they
said
have a
before has to be
beautiful
true at all. You don't have to be
They have a
consistent.
time machine that
Yeah.
fixes every single.
And they can
issue.
just be like, well, God told us that our spiritual leader should always be God. So the governing body was useful at the time, and now we don't need it anymore. And they can just write the governing body out of existence, and these guys can all just fade into obscurity with their big wads of cash, and then everybody will just stick around. The JWs would be like, well, we had a governing body, but now we don't. Now we all just follow God. And the helpers can just anonymously write new edicts without a governing body, right? They could totally do that if they wanted to. I hope they're not watching.
You're feeding them ideas.
Yeah, they're writing,
Oh.
they're writing things down.
Right
Holy
now,
shit, this
Tony
atheist guy's really got some ideas.
Right now, Tony Moore has his pen that has on it, it says new light. I'm going to write some new light.
Yeah.
When he clicks it, it just like a little little
A little,
cord.
The lightsaber?
yeah, a little lightsaber so you can cut out all the old light.
There you go.
Sort of changing the topic, but I was just kind of, since we started sort of talking about purity culture and how that kind
Oh,
of
yeah, this all
affects,
is about purity culture, basically.
yeah, it's all kind of just like a consequence of that, and like I feel like we kind of covered our sex work thing, but like just I was thinking about while we were talking just different JW propaganda pieces and just like how they use women in them, which I think is really like with the Jade and Nita deal.
Oh, yeah.
how like Jade is trashy and a worldly mess of a woman because she's late for school and doesn't have like a perfect bedroom.
Right.
And then, you know, the Nita, she's like wearing like 10 layers of sweaters and she's living her best life. We're watching
The heat between them two was like.
I ship them. Like they're just I think
Like they were clearly there was something there.
Yeah, there was like fire in that recording building or whatever.
Yeah. Tell me about Jehovah. Was that an innuendo? I don't know. Whoa, what was that?
Okay, you know, that's funny. I do not understand witness dating. Like, I've never gotten a clear consensus on how that's supposed to work. When I was a witness, like, there'd be some couples where, like, you wouldn't even know they knew each other till they got married. And then there were couples where they would, like, do, like, a kiss on the cheek and everybody's talking about it. Like, oh, I didn't know they were engaged. And so then I was like, okay, wait, so if you're a couple, what are you allowed to do that's, like, different than being friends? Because you're not really allowed to be friends with people of the opposite sex. Or, like, they say...
You do anal.
That's the solution.
That's what you do.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's what you do.
True, that's true.
I mean, they're looking for actresses and actors now. I mean, they're like doing roll call trying to get people in there. So
I had.
It's going to be a
Really?
hotbed of yeah. They said they need. I forget which update I was watching, and they were saying it's a very interesting that we would need actors and actresses, but that's where the need is right now. I'm like, oh, okay.
And so,
Tons of
Because it sure isn't in printing magazines now that there's one a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
weird.
yeah,
Okay,
and they
yeah.
mentioned selling their presses and stuff too.
how
So
is
now,
it?
so now is when they require the actors. The actors that they told that your talent is not good out there, but you'd rather come and do it for us here
Yeah.
without any pay.
Yeah.
I
Right,
wonder if
all
they'll ever...
free.
All for Jehovah.
All for
My
Jehovah.
goodness.
I don't
Right? Isn't that wild?
think...
They're getting everything built for free. Everything's donated.
I mean, that's so weird to me because it's like, okay, let's just accept the logic that there is a Jehovah and Jehovah wants things. Okay, but I still live here, right? And like here, I need food. Like I need to eat and pay rent, right? So like, is there anyone I could give all of my time to for free and still live? No, because that has no bearing on whether or not I need to pay rent.
Right. All those things still need to.
Those things still need to happen.
But
Yeah.
but some as far as like people in the church would say, they would still say you still need to give. You still
Right, like-
need to tithe. There is no excuse.
Like there's
in
if there's
there.
any
You have 2
person
coins, you're good. Just the
Yeah.
old lady.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
If there's any person who
Or
doesn't need any money, it's God. God doesn't need cash.
God doesn't need. I mean, if God is an omnipotent, omniscient, like all of that,
But he can't handle his money.
he would not have a single need. The
Every
only thing-
time I pray, he's broke. What is this?
right? But the only thing that
The Lord lost a lot in the stock market.
Oh, the economy. Oh. You're like, hey, God, can you please help me out? And he's like, in this economy?
God
Like, you're
just
like,
keeps investing.
God!
God keeps falling for like every MLM. It's
Yeah,
like
he's
got
falling
a
for he's
real
falling for
problem.
NFTs and MLMs. God tried to sell me Herbalife last time I prayed. Like, what the hell?
I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay.
okay, get your shit together, God.
This is ridiculous.
I mean, is there anything else y'all wanted to bring up about? I mean, I guess really we did sum everything up about the. I
Yeah.
think we got our point across about like
Yeah.
about redirecting some.
I
of
mean,
our,
I think it's
Right,
like
but-
the thing about sex work though that it's like that is just a symptom of a larger system of like judgment that we as a society like that's something I think it's interesting. We can have arguments day and night with people. You ask 10 people and they'll all have different opinions about what the purpose of societal rules is. What's the purpose of laws? Is it to prevent yourself from doing things? Is it to protect people? Is it to stop other people from doing things? Like, there are lots of reasons to do anything, and lots of reasons to set in place rules, and societal expectations are like a different kind of rule, right? So, like, the idea that sex work is in some way bad, first of all, it needs to be justified, but also is something that lots of, lots of people will have different ideas about why something's good or bad, but, like, at the end of the day, the structures that we put on ourselves and on each other, the expectations we put on each other, are, I think, corrosive to our ability to just be happy. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, what's the point?
Right.
You know?
And it seems as if, to me, that Christendom wants you in that perpetual, like,
it's like a groveling state of, that's it. I mean, it's straight up abuse. It is straight up abuse to suggest to someone, you are gross, you are disgusting, you're the worst possible thing, but God loves you.
As a baby.
You are the most disgusting thing.
Vagina,
you're horrible, you're terrible, you're condemned, but the creator of the universe loves you. That is abuse. If you say that to your partner, it's abuse. God is doing it to us, except he doesn't exist. Someone's telling you that you're being abused, and you're accepting it.
Do you want to know an example I heard at a circuit assembly that sounds just like what you just said? Okay, so he, like, had this, like, $20 bill, and he, like, crumpled it up, and he's like, okay, would you still want this $20? And everyone was like, yeah, sure, it's still $20. And then he, like, stepped on it. He's like, what about now? And it's yeah, no, it's still $20. And then he ripped it up, and he's like, well, now it's not $20 anymore. But then, like, the point of this was that we are all the ripped up 20, but God would still use us to make, I don't know.
God would still want us.
But it was just, like, weird because everybody was, like, hit so hard and, like, that was so beautiful. And I was like, okay, but that's only beautiful.
That's fucked up.
It's
chewed gum is not beautiful. Like, going, chewed gum, that sounds so beautiful. Like, no.
Yeah, it's only beautiful if we all agree that we're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't agree to that.
Yeah.
And it's that whole original sin.
I'm not even sure it's beautiful if we agree with it.
Yeah, it isn't.
Yeah,
it's just a terrible...
Really. It's just mean. It's just a mean thing to say about another person.
Yeah, even if you are nothing, it's still rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not true.
Yeah.
Even if you agree with it, it's not true.
Yeah.
But they teach children, they indoctrinate them
to feel horrible,
that the moment you... And I used to always question that, but I didn't do... Like, what did I do so wrong? Why am I... Like, I just remember thinking, like, why am I a sinner? What did I do so wrong?
Right.
You know, as a little kid, not ever getting...
And then you recite you repeat the I'm
so bad.
The excuse that they give. Oh, it's because of original sin. It's Adam and Eve. It's whatever, but, like, none of that's true either.
Right. But that...
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jonathan?
It just makes me think how... a lot of religions will be you're kind of I'm floundering here. Basically when it comes to like unborn babies and stuff, it's like they value fetuses, and they value before you're born. As soon as you're born, it's then you're kind of worthless, and I don't understand that.
Exactly.
Like, tell me why you won't take care of the veterans, you won't take care of the homeless, you won't take care of the people who are here who need you right now, who desperately need your help. Your focus is on forcing somebody who may not have the ability to do the job necessary to take care of that child,
right?
And forcing them in a position to now... Who knows? But the moment they come out, that precious little fetus, the moment they come out,
you
little sinning shit.
Right.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
You're horrible.
I'm not
yeah.
gonna spoil you. I'm gonna spare the rod and not spoil the child or whatever.
You're just a drain on society.
It's so weird too because like I this is something about specifically about JWs that I think is really interesting. They we posted on our Instagram just the other day about there's one of the things they said is like, how do you know that the Bible is true, XYZ, and like what can we do about this fallen world? And they say like, well, God will make it all better in the end. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking, that's interesting you say that, because you're identifying correctly that there are problems in the world. And then you're saying, God will make it all better in the end. But, like, in the end is not right now, and there are still the problems right now, and the Watchtower is also encouraging people to close their ears and close their eyes and to not fix the problems that are here now. If you really give a shit about those problems, fix them now. Right? Like, we can all contribute. Yeah, we can all contribute.
Christians, in my opinion, would be the people who would be running that whole shebang.
I mean, if they want to follow the ideas of giving to others, like I don't necessarily think that's a necessarily even a Christian idea, but like the fact of the matter is they think of themselves that way, so why don't you act that way? Like we have problems with racism and sexism and economic instability and disease and natural disasters and all that stuff. And who are the people that get helped by the Watchtower when things go wrong? Well, in case of natural disasters, sometimes some of the people who were there. And, like, most of the time, that's done by the witnesses, not by the Watchtower, and then they use them for free labor, and then they take the money from the insurance. That's just a scam. That's not anything generous. That's not even genuinely good in any way. But, like, instead, if you want to provide for others, no, that's the rest of the world is sinful, and they're all going to die, and we get to bury the bodies, yay, and then God will make it all right in the end. Well, that doesn't make up for all the problems. I mean, frankly, if God is supposed to be fixing all the problems, then I would say, okay, great. So, like, that means in the future, we don't have to worry about that. But we're still living right now. So, like, any God that's not encouraging me to do my part to help, I mean, frankly, any God that's not just solving the problem on their own.
Yeah,
if they're
the whole thing, that doesn't make sense.
None of it makes any sense. The more you think about it, the less it works.
That's called leaving it in Jehovah's hands. That's what witnesses are told all the time.
Yeah, you can totally leave the future in Jehovah's hands. He's God, right? Like, if anyone's going to be able to do something about every problem, it would be God. But, like, you can still try to solve some of the problems now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, if my shoes are not tied, I don't just go, like, well, I'll leave it in Jehovah's hands and then trip all day. Like, I tie my shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense to, like, see something and not do something. It doesn't make sense to hold signs in your hand that say JW.org at the border of Ukraine and Russia and only help JW. Like, that's not.
That doesn't fucking help anybody.
That's not humanitarian. That's not Christian to me. That's
something that I've come to realize, that witnesses are pushing that whole JW.org narrative to an extent where it doesn't even you can't recognize their real preaching work. What are you doing? Are you taking the good news anymore, or are you just handing out cards telling them, oh, visit our website, visit our website, visit our website? Something that they demonized for years when the internet was was coming in of age, and now they're like, oh, look at us, we can adopt this because now Jehovah has given us. I think it's just there's dualities in this world. When there's so much extremes where you fall on this side of the scale and you're like, you know what, I was hand this shitty hand, but I'm not gonna live in it anymore. I can move myself from that position. And I think that's now the tough decision that a lot of people are failing to make, because the organization is built on praising people for nonsensical positions they don't even care about.
And I mean, there's a certain, like, just the sort of virtue that people have for faith in general, right? Like, there's something virtuous about holding a belief for bad reasons. And, like, no, there isn't a good, like, that's not a good thing. And at the same time, I'm like, JW History Made Easy said in the chat, they always used to say that it's no use trying to make things better because that would be like rearranging the furniture in a house that's burning down. And if that's the metaphor you want to go for, fine. In that case, it would be like rearranging the furniture. But we should still try to stop the house from burning.
No, that's like saying your child is on the couch and not picking up your child and taking them out because the house is burning down.
Right, there's other people here. Like
you do things because the house is burning down. You don't just run. You like, oh my god, I gotta grab my baby, and
and that's what the preaching's for, right? In theory, if we want to follow the metaphor to its logical conclusion, that's what the preaching's for.
Right.
But
the
then
sky is falling.
But like, if you really genuinely want to preach, go for it. I encourage you to do it because if you really think I'm in danger, please. No, really, sincerely, and this is just my opinion. If somebody really thinks I'm in danger, I would like them to warn me. I would like them to warn me, but they should be ready to prove it. They should be ready to give evidence. Tell me the thing that convinced you. Because I haven't been convinced. The house doesn't look like it's on fire to me.
They don't have it. Most of the times they don't have it.
As far as I can tell, you're just telling me to abandon my house.
The only Jesus Christ, we keep getting this naked.
Hang on. Naked. They might have something really helpful to offer. I mean, best naked girls in the world.
Hey, Naked, can you please
just use offer code?
Wait, Naked,
Fantastic.
We know
to get 10% off.
Might like to use your service. No.
Yeah.
Fuck, I gotta hold on. How do
I don't know how to. I've never used StreamYards. I have no idea how to block.
There.
My goodness.
Okay. There we go. Sorry, y'all. Okay, now I gotta take.
How did that even happen?
Oh no! Now how do I take it off?
You might have to put somebody else's message. Oh, you know what? Just put it up there as an ad. Okay.
You know what? I'm proud of you. You got your first sponsored ad.
Sponsored live stream. This live stream is sponsored by NakedHD.xyz.
Yeah.
The best girls.
Hey, I got a show and tell if it's okay. It's totally unrelated. But
no, please.
Okay. So I was cleaning my garage and I found this CD case, and I'm gonna do this carefully because of it's probably not cool to just show people's identity over the internet.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But okay, so I'll give you context here. You know that what is it they called that drama where it's got the girl that goes into some like Whole Foods or something, and it's all about lesbians.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, "How dare you people!"
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, she was in my old congregation.
Oh.
Wow. No way.
So this is from her like wedding CD but that's her, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like minor celebrity.
Wow.
Damn.
That's our in, dude.
You knew her.
There you go.
Yeah. Do you still do you think she's still?
No.
Darn it. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's so funny though.
Anyway, it was just like, look at that.
Nice.
I hate that video. I really
it's horrible.
I hope she hates it too.
It's so terrible. It's just so
it's unrealistic for starters.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm getting mad at you because you don't want to wear this brace. It's just a fucking brace. Take it and put it in a bag. Throw it out if you don't want to.
Nobody cares that much.
Genuinely, like in real life, what would happen is, hey, we've got this bracelet here, and they say no thanks, and you'd go, okay. Okay.
Because that's the other thing too.
Like you're an asshole. I keep in my head. Like I don't care.
But even if not, because they're like, we're giving out these free bracelets, and you're like, no, and they're like, oh no, it's free, and then you could be like, honestly, I just wouldn't wear it. So like, bye. And then like
you could even
keep it.
Yeah.
You could even say something bigoted. In the moment, you could just say something bigoted, and they would not care. They're just there to do their job. After they're done, they go home. Like they're not gonna be butthurt about the fact like, oh, I'm talking to a bigot. Okay.
Like they're building a whole company so they can make these production value videos, and they've got their
and the
actors and actresses. Yeah.
With whose money?
Did you know they're building background scenes now that are like permanent? So before they were like little small structures. Well, now they're building like a whole side building.
Hollywood.
I want a JW sitcom
Do you know they're building
Oh,
a
man.
temple?
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, a temple
one
is
thing is
one
that-
of the
one
scenes, so
thing-
it's going to be a permanent
Oh, my
temple
goodness.
structure.
I
I
love.
told you
I
it's
love what
Universal
they're doing.
Studios
I love-
Ramapo.
It is Universal
love what
Studios
they're doing.
Ramapo. We just need a ride.
Can we?
The three things I want are a sitcom, a ride, and a superhero movie. Right? Like a Marvel style, like JW superhero movie. No idea what it's about. Maybe it's Tight Pants Tony. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
And the horror.
Right? A horror movie? Yeah.
I wonder what
I
I
should
would.
make it into a horror movie.
Yeah.
Tight
Ooh.
Pants Tony, a horror movies.
The sound of tightening leather is the sound effect of the horror sting.
Now, I was thinking for your horror, the first scene is like the person just walking down the street. They look up on the telephone pole. It says yard sale, and then they go to the yard sale.
Oh yes, I know where
Yeah.
you're going.
And they get a doll.
Oh yeah, keep going. I like it. I like where you're going. This
Yeah.
is getting good. This is getting
The-
good.
And it's Chucky all
That's
over.
so
And then
scary.
The doll is all that kicks over the event for Armageddon to start, and then
Yeah.
this whole
Absolutely.
side is like, oh shit, Armageddon started because of me and this doll. Actually, I've never picked this doll.
Wait, okay, maybe this would
And the dog
okay.
gets up in the Kingdom Hall. The dog gets taken to the Kingdom Hall. By
Gives
a
the number
child.
3 part.
And then it just gets up in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan.
I got a question. Okay, this is I'm not a I was never a JW, right? So like maybe this wouldn't work for the plot for JW reasons. But my thought is like, what if at the end of the movie you see that this whole thing happens, and then you find out that that's not what kicked off Armageddon? It's just something terrible that just happened.
Right.
And then at the end of the movie, Armageddon really starts, and that is sequel bait,
Oh,
right?
Well,
Like
you
it's
thought
like
Armageddon.
right. You thought it was all this time. You were like, "Oh my god, Armageddon's starting." No, this isn't even the beginning. Now it's Armageddon.
Wait, what if this is Armageddon? What if
I'm
we're
okay with this.
living in Armageddon, and all of a sudden shit's like cool, and we're like, oh, we made it. Oh shit.
Like we got to the other side. Oh,
We're living in the
okay.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the red pill.
What's that? His JW History Made Easy had made a comment there about televangelism.
Oh, yes. Yes, so they rejected televangelism and
Yeah.
they preachers as illegitimate forms of preaching, and now that's basically their entire
True.
thing now.
That's really true. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
click.
if-
Go to this website. Click.
when I
Uh-oh.
first,
Sorry,
Oh no.
I don't think we've been introduced.
Oh,
My
yeah.
name is Lemmy Rollins.
Oh,
I
hi,
am
Lenny.
Rody. Hello. Thank you for inviting me on today.
Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
This new
I've
character.
been roadie and stage manager to televangelists for many, many years.
Oh,
Let me tell you.
wow. Any names we've heard before?
Well, let's just
Jehovah.
say I got my start out getting, mascara for Tammy Baker.
Oh, okay. We know
Ooh.
Tammy Faye,
And,
yeah. And her husband. Yeah, we
You know
definitely
that
know them.
farting priest you see on the internet?
Farting priest?
Yeah, he would never take his gas pills. It's terrible.
I didn't know there was a farting priest.
Oh yeah, look him up.
Even priests fart.
Even priest. But the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, let me tell you, they're the best. It's like an 8-headed pope.
You
Yeah,
never
they
know
all-
what you're going to get, right?
That's
Lenny?
right. It's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
They talk
they
out
gotta-
both sides of their mouth.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, though. You see, your material gets old, so what do? You create new light, and suddenly you got new shtick.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
It's very easy to just, oh, I made a mistake and now I fixed it. And you know, there's nothing wrong with fixing mistakes. I don't think that anybody has an issue with people fixing mistakes, Lemmy.
I do.
But
I do. I want
But
people to
it's
just
a pattern. The
just-
pattern, I think, is the
yeah,
issue.
yeah. It's weird
Yeah.
how they just keep updating it, and then like they never call them mistakes. Like even calling it new light is really
Great
That's-
people only do great things.
Yeah.
really. I feel like what. So then, does that make things that are not so great that they do great by definition? Are they
Well,
defined by the great things?
That was somebody else's mistake.
Okay, but my question is like, are they great because they do great things, or are the things great because they did them?
Exactly. The things are great because they did them.
Right.
They bore into our heads, to people's heads when we were growing up, to always protect them, no matter what. I mean, if you just even breathed an inkling of like whisper of issue about the governing body or even circuit overseer or elder, like, oh, they boop beep boop 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 boop. They just shut that down. Like you can't talk like that. That is like sinning against Jehovah's Holy Spirit and talking bad against Jehovah's Holy Spirit. And yeah, they're freaking dullards, these freaking people, and they're the chosen ones. I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff that they spew is so hypocritical. I mean, I could just go on forever about like their hypocritical.
I remember I used to
mundane-
ask like, how comes they're not more inclusive? And I was so young. I don't know why I was asking her all these questions. Like, how come they're not inclusive? We know personally 3 different brothers who are literally anointed.
Jonathan.
And
Yeah,
we're
sorry.
like,
Man chases weird
why
out
are
of
they
it.
just plucked out from Kenya and then taken to like New York and be given a position in the governing body or even as a helper?
Yeah.
Why not make it inclusive to even other brothers in like these other countries like South America, Asia? Why is it always just them there? And then with that one black token person that they put there, which unfortunately to Africans, he's white.
Yeah.
Because we
He's
can't
also an
see any
American, yeah.
representation.
Yeah,
We can't see
yeah.
any representation there. We're like, how is this possible? And when you ask somebody that, they'll be like, shh, hush, hush. My child, you never say anything like that.
Right.
Never talk about it because you are sinning against God.
That's how they take it. If you say anything bad against but that's not, nobody should be without refute. You know, everybody should be able to be, you know, if you're a member of a,
Yeah.
I have a question.
if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can I pee? You guys are good to keep posting.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, have fun.
I'm just gonna
Fall in.
yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go.
Don't fall in, yeah. Okay, I got a question. In the witnesses, are all humans supposed to be equal? Obviously, women, no. But, like, are all men supposed to be equal?
No.
Like, supposed to be. Do they pay lip service to the idea that we're all equal?
I don't think so.
Because, like, I would think, you know, if all sins are equal in the eyes of God, then I would think that all people, and we're all equally sinners because of original sin, shouldn't we all be equally yoked?
You know, I remember they even used to tell us that not all witnesses will enter the
Sure.
paradise.
But they don't provide any sort of rubric for how to decide, like, oh, that guy's going to heaven, but this guy, nah.
Well, you decide
No,
if you go to heaven.
I think that
Right,
was
but I mean, like, you don't. There's no sort of like rubric that you're given to evaluate other people. It's just there are inherent inequalities, and there's no explanation for how we're supposed to. I was just asking about like whether
That's a good question. I really thought about that.
What was the question?
I was just asking, like, do witnesses suggest or pay lip service to the idea that all men are equals?
They say
Obviously
that.
not women, but like but do they pay lip service to the idea that all men are equals? Because if that's true, then like Musa said, we should fully expect that a governing body member should be from Africa and one should be from Europe, or you know, and they should be of all different races. You should be an Asian one, like
Yeah.
right, like you would expect an extremely diverse group instead of 7 white guys and you know.
But see, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's kind of things that white people don't think about.
Right, I mean,
So they don't have enough people around them to start pushing that. Like, hey, we
don't generally think about the problems of others until they're presented to us. So like,
Right.
if they're genuinely like I can actually genuinely believe that these, even if they are fully 100% grifters, I can still believe that they genuinely don't realize that they are also being sort of subtextually racist.
Yeah, because I think they consider everybody equal, but they're a little more equal than you.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's like I don't have that problem, so why are you
Exactly,
complaining about it?
Jonathan.
And that's not how anything works, but we think about it that way. Sometimes we I mean, like, anytime anybody has ever suggested that they're having a problem to you, just imagine, like, you're at work, right? And someone's like, oh, my computer's not working right. And then what's your instinctual first response? Oh, my computer's working fine. Like, that's just saying that you are not dealing with their problem, right? Like, and we do that instinctively. So, like, it's not surprising that they wouldn't recognize immediately that, and it also doesn't help that we've also got centuries of culturalization that says women are different than men and for these reasons, and that they're weak and men are strong, and all these other crazy ideas that we've given ourselves.
I have a question for Lex, because are you the most recently left?
I think so.
I think you're one of the most.
Yeah, I stopped going to meetings 2019. I started waking up 20.
But she actually woke up in the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I get that. Like I drifted away, but didn't wake up till 2 years ago. But my question is, so I don't know what you were ever taught, but I definitely remember being taught the curse of Ham. Now I was told,
oh no. Okay, yeah, no, that was like a big thing in my family. Like, anytime anything came up. So, like, this is so weird. Like, and this just, I think, really just speaks to how, I guess, all minorities will just, like, oppress themselves for the sake of religion. Because my dad would literally say, like, every witness has something that they just, like, can't understand. It makes God seem unloving or whatever. And, like, for me, it's always been slavery. Like, I don't know why he let it go on so long. But, like, you just have to...
Still happens.
You just have to, like, let that go kind of thing.
Be okay with it.
And it's, like, weird because I was, like, never okay with it. But also it was weird, especially just because, like, my hall was, like, fairly diverse with everybody, but there was still very clearly racism going on. Like, even like in places that I wouldn't expect. I remember being young and a service overseer came to my hall, or like he moved into our hall from Africa, and him and his wife were really nice, but he was going to be the service overseer. And the first Saturday, and like I'd seen other circuit overseers do the same thing, but for some reason him doing this was a big problem. He was like, okay, so like we're going to like just split everybody up into groups so I can sort of start getting to know everybody, kind of a thing. And everybody was like, no, we already made partners. We're not doing it. Like, they actively rebelled against him. And, like, I was still pretty young, but I remembered thinking, like, I do not feel like this would be happening if it was some white guy.
If it was a white guy, or if he was a black guy from a different part of the U.S. even. Because, like, you know, it's Western society has... I mean, the global South is genuinely, like, just disadvantaged by the fact that we exploit the labor of the global South. You know, like slave labor is used to produce chocolate. I mean, and we eat chocolate here in this country like nobody cares.
Our phones, the stuff, the kids mining. I mean, it's
I mean, like, do you guys remember?
Let's wait for God to fix it.
Yeah. Do you guys remember a couple weeks ago that there was like a whole story about how they made the green M&M not sexy anymore, even though she looks almost identical to the way she looked before. She's just not wearing go-go boots.
Shoes,
yeah, right. And it's like, and like, do you know why they did that? They did that because that same weekend, someone sued the M&M company because they were a child slave getting cocoa beans, and they wanted to spread other news about M&M to get the controversy off of the child slave thing. So they would rather piss off the conservatives and say, we made the M&M less sexy, and that'll get the conservatives to go, rah, rah, that's so bad. But yeah, they are currently being sued for the use of child slaves in Africa.
That's wild.
Did you guys know that also Ghana said no to Switzerland? Like, fuck off, I'm not gonna send you any more cocoa anymore. Because the production, the production there has been, the farmers are not getting what they're supposed to be getting, because
Yeah.
Wow.
this is a product that is highly demanded
Yeah.
across the world. But they're like, we still need our people to gain the economic stability that they need.
Yeah.
We need to create a safe space for them. So they said no, and they're like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I think they're gonna be refining it personally there. But yeah, just to go back to Lex's point, that's what Africans do. It's so normal. When a service overseer comes, he will split the group. He doesn't fucking care if you have a partner here.
Yeah.
Groups are usually split up in like, it's like people always have this
Click.
this feeling to work with somebody new.
Oh.
And it's more of like getting to know you, and it creates that whole competition of like, this person, I don't need to show my complete self around this person because I don't know what intentions they're coming with. So it creates that whole like competition vibe even within the congregation. Like, oh look, I did more hours, or rather, I have this how many RVs here, and especially going back to the whole item on racism.
Yeah.
Here it is open because a lot of white Jehovah's Witnesses were here. Well, I can say they're Kenyan, but they're also white. They have a superiority complex, and I don't understand where it comes from.
We do. We have a severe.
But they don't like addressing it. Even when you bring it up, they will always feel like uncomfortable. That's what most white people in Africa they'll always feel uncomfortable. Like, it's not me.
Right.
Those other people, it's not me. And they're like, no, it applies here because we can see it happening.
Right.
You know, a brother who's giving a Swahili talk, or rather a talk in local language, he will not fill up a hall. But bring a foreign speaker, be it from America, even a black American, as long as they have a different accent, it's like it moves
suddenly the hall's packed. Yeah,
suddenly the hall is packed. And they're like, wow, his talk is really good. You're like, he just talked about something basic like love. The other person was talking about
some of the worst
depression,
talks,
and he was trying his best to use the Bible to try and justify your depression is not right. But you were just there to talk about something simple. And
I think
even the whole idea of Jade, the whole video, most people, I was very concerned because I was still in those groups, witness groups, and I would see most people were complimenting their accents rather than what they're getting from the video.
Actually saying,
like, what the hell is wrong with you people?
Like fanning, like, oh, love your accent.
Right. I think it is important though.
Listen to what I say.
It's important though. You said like we do, Ryan. You said we do, and I wanted to be clear. Like the part of it though is like when we talk about these kinds of issues, it's important that we reach people where they are and not where we'd like them to be. And so if we put an accusatory tone on it, or or expect them to say like, "Oh, that's me. I do that," and like. Dealing with any kind of criticism, everyone is hesitant to accept criticism, especially when you're telling them like you've been fucking this up for a long time, for your whole life, and like no one's ever told you, you dummy, you should have figured this out a long time, right? Like nobody wants to be told that they're all right. And so like one of the things, like in a totally different example, I realized this about myself when I'm watching YouTube videos and I'm looking at the YouTube videos that I watch, and I realize that like almost everybody I watch is male. Almost all of them are white. Most of them are American. Some of them are British. But like I watch maybe like one or two women consistently. I watch like one or two black people consistently, and I was like, I claim to be a person who wants to be egalitarian, and I see videos that I'm pretty sure I would like if I clicked on them, and then I just don't click on them. And it's like, I can give myself an excuse. I'm not in the mood for it right now. I'm not in the, whatever. But, like, at the end of the day, like, I know I'm gonna like that video, because it's, like, about a topic that interests me. But, like, I know it's a black creator, and so for some reason, I'm still having difficulties right? And so, like, I'm working on that. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to, like, if I feel the hesitation there, I override my hesitation and say, like, no, I see this video, I click on it, I'm subscribed to this guy, I'm subscribed because I think he's interesting, or I'm subscribed to this woman because she's interesting, and, you know, I'm trying to be better about it, but, like, that at the end of the day, it's something that we all have to work on for ourselves.
When you always see certain faces on the TV,
No.
like, I think you just kind of get like, I'm not, this might sound weird, I'm not trying to sound weird, but I just wonder, like, sometimes when I watch TV and I'm like, I swear to God, like, every commercial I just saw had a white person, like, a TV show I'm watching has white people. Like, what would I feel like if I looked different, no matter what it was? I just look different than what I see on TV, whether that be disabled, whether that be a different skin color. Like, how am I feeling without seeing myself represented ever? Like, rarely or ever.
I think representation is just like a really good, like, conversation, like, that's worth having, like,
you know, LGBTQIA, trans, sorry, that too.
Just like any, like, marginalized group, really, if, like, you don't see yourself, you, like, for me, I noticed, like, I just got used to watching stuff that are about white people, and it's like, okay, well, this doesn't really speak to my personal experience, like, at all, but, like, it's still funny, I can still, like, enjoy it, but then, like, I'll see, like,
They're
movie.
back, baby.
Oh my, with a vengeance. Oh my
We've
God.
got fans. Our supporter. Whoop, whoop.
Naked HD.
Whoa. Online strips without clothing?
How can you do online strips without clothing?
They're removing their skin.
Yeah, I was like, you need a starting point.
Welcome to housebuiltinstripping.com.
Here we go. Ah!
Yeah, I don't know how to do mods. I'm sorry, secular priorities. I do that if I knew what I was doing.
I would be curious. It's let's ask the white man in the room because Jonathan, you've been pretty quiet on this topic, and I'm curious what you think. Hearing this, so now to pivot. Now that we've all had our chance to speak, now Mr. White Man,
Wait, what's
correct us. I just want to know his opinion on the topic because he's been kind of quiet.
That's kind of been taking it in, but as far as give me a direct question.
Like,
Okay, yeah. Well, okay. So, like, do you feel like you have changed in your perspective about your place in society since leaving the Witnesses? Like, do you feel like you've opened up your mind a little bit more, or do you feel like you're not different? You know, you may not feel like you've changed much at all.
Oh, I've definitely changed because. Okay, not really from a racial standpoint, but as a Jehovah's Witness, you're taught that you are part of God's people and that everybody, it's us versus them mentality. Right. And I think that carries on to other groups. Mm-hmm. It's easy to, when you're being fed that, you know, you're the special people, that you're better than other people. Yeah. But I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, as far as belief goes, I've said it a million times. Like, yeah, like you can hold different beliefs, and that's fine. Yeah. You know, like, you get comments in your YouTube section that are like, you know, just like people come in and like, you guys are wrong, and you know, I don't know why you guys are talking about this. Just shut up, and Jesus this and this scripture and that. They just want to say, I'm right. You're wrong. And they don't want to hear. There is no exchange of ideas. There's no real communication. It is just sort of throwing their beliefs at you and going, see, that's how it should be. Right. Mm-hmm. When, you know, it's okay to have a conversation and have a difference of opinion and go, you know what? I learned something about you and myself today. This was helpful. It doesn't have to be, you know, just a mentality that you're right and they're wrong.
Yeah, just because they have the us versus them thing doesn't mean we have to reflect it back at them. Yeah. You know.
I think part of the issue, at least I see part of the issue, is like organizations who used to teach racist doctrine and then never addressed that racist doctrine. Yeah. You still have, those people still exist. Like, we still have people who exist who like are in those photos of, you know, throwing shit at people, eating at only whites
right.
restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So those people are still alive.
Yeah.
They've taught their kids. They're teaching. They're teaching their kids. So we've got fans, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you don't correctly address that stuff, like from the pulpit, say this was the new light.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would be some real good that even within the cult structure they could do. They could just be like, hey, let's get up to date with like empathy, you know?
Yeah.
It was interesting. I heard this relatively recently. Moose, you know who Paul Rudd is? The guy who played Ant-Man in the Marvel movies?
I do. I love Paul Rudd.
What do you think? Which do you think is older, and by how much? Paul Rudd or interracial marriage in this country?
Oh dear. Oh no.
Paul Rudd.
Which is older?
Which one's older?
Oh, Paul Rudd, I'm sure.
Damn it.
Yeah, Paul Rudd was 6 years old when interracial marriage was legalized.
That's
Paul Rudd looks the same now than he did like 20 years ago.
Exactly. So this isn't right.
He's not like some ancient dude. This isn't ancient history we're talking about. No. Paul Rudd was alive when my dad was alive when interracial marriage was legalized. Like, what the fuck? People are acting like Obama became president, therefore racism is gone. And I'm like,
so wait. Let's do some math. So when was that?
Let me look up. I don't know if he was exactly 6 years. Let me look up the
exact. My parents are an interracial couple.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm guessing this is 6.
Like my mom's from Panama. That thing in the back. This is the Panamanian. It's called a mola.
Uh-huh.
So it's just a certain design you'll see that natives in Panama.
I guess I shouldn't have assumed you were white. My bad.
That's might as well be. My dad was from Kentucky. And my mom was from Panama, so there you go.
Now I can kind of see like your face. It's hard to kind of see right now because
I'm sorry. It was only 2 years difference. 1967 was when interracial marriage was legalized.
67. So we have governing body members who are in their 70. What's the oldest governing body member? 76? Is it?
Which one would it be?
I think Garrett Loesch is the oldest, right?
Is he?
Shoot,
I can't remember. I'm going to Google that real quick, y'all. Hold up.
I don't even know. I thought they're all the same age.
Oopsie.
They're all ancient.
But basically what I'm trying to say is that, okay, so...
Yeah, I don't know who the oldest was, but there were definitely people who were governing body members who were adults at the time of the legalization of
interracial marriage.
Right. And so basically what I'm trying to say is these are the people who would have been fighting it. These aren't people who just because they were Christians were on the good side, because we know that that's not a title that you can hold that negates you, like takes you away from the harm that's been caused. No, sorry. Like you were definitely in that time, like, how could you legalize interracial marriage? When segregation, I mean, we know that the JWs fought when everything was desegregated, when the Kingdom Halls were desegregated. And they put out a video saying that, things went over lovingly and, they rejoiced and welcomed the liars.
Especially done in South Africa. Oh, I was like...
Was it bad there?
It was that bad. And then they're over there trying to justify, say, like, look, we were still brothers. And, South Africa was difficult because it was happening in their land. So I can't even imagine how it is for a Black American, or rather, I call them Americans because they're just Americans. But I can't imagine how hard it was for them growing up during that period. Seeing all those changes, seeing the organization playing to the tune of what the law says. I can't even imagine.
It hurts.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Secular Rarity said, give it 30 more.
Yeah, Secular Rarity's exactly right. I think in 30 years, evangelical Christians will absolutely... Because they claimed the same thing about ending slavery. They were like, evangelical Christians were the ones pushing for the end of slavery. It's like, that's not true.
At all.
No.
Evangelical Christians were equally on both sides of this
Yeah.
issue that should not have had two sides.
Yeah. I mean, I've read abolitionist stuff, and I've seen that there were people who were fighting against it, but
there's biblical
more
justifications
than-
for abolition, and also plenty of biblical justifications for slavery.
Exactly, but they still used. They were still able to get away with it for.
Yeah.
They say 1,400 years, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, probably longer than that.
Yeah.
That they use that excuse, but again, when we're not addressing it, we're not addressing the new light and saying like, oh, here's something we could bring up and fix just like that. And well, not fix just like that, but at least they could address it and maybe start getting people to realize that they do have issues and they do feel like they're somehow more important because of the color of their skin. I mean, even the angels are white. It's just weird. It's weird. The angels are all white men.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the ones that are like eyes and wings.
That's something that I think about like a lot. Like,
can't wait to those flutters feeling at night. Sorry.
Yeah.
With with the governing body and like New Light in general, it's like weird because like, there's people like us and everybody else who's talking about the different like injustices of being a witness and all that, but like I just think that like if you have like a thing like New Light, like we were saying earlier, you could just use it to change everything. Like they could just make like, New Light, you can be gay now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Like it's fine. And like
turns out God didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah. I don't think they can do that.
It might be a little bit. It might need to be more nuanced than that.
Yeah, especially during this generation, they won't do that. They'll wait a couple of generations and then be like, "Oh, sorry, yeah."
I mean, they'll catch up very late.
But I feel like
Maybe they catch
the
up.
thing is, I feel like they could just do it because, like, whenever they do it, there's going to be pushback because they've been like indoctrinating kids to not like gays. But if they just start abruptly, then like a bunch of people will be like, "No, this is fake because we want to hate gay people." Then it would just be like, "Oh, well, those apostates. They're mentally diseased. They don't want to do what we're doing." And so, like, I think, but they choose not to do that, which like they've like with
Cat is getting very antsy.
but with it's just.
Yeah. I wonder, I wonder what the transition period would be, because, like, they would need to lay down some New Light to kind of get everybody ready for, we're actually going to make it so you can be gay. Gay is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Gay is fine, right? And, like, what would that be? That would be, like, the beginning of that would be, like, with modern medicine brought to us by Jehovah, there's actually safe ways to engage with this behavior. But we still don't recommend you do it. And then later they'll say, like, it's actually fine. It's a conscience matter, and then,
They'll never want to accept
They'll never do that.
No. I'm just
They'll
thinking,
never
like,
wanna
if they did.
They'll never want to accept the
Never
fact
did that.
the
I think
people who have
I would
died.
run outside naked. I'd be like, finally, something good that they're trying.
Okay.
No, that's still
I'll
not
run that
good.
too.
They need to get rid of the cult. Like,
Then you have
I
to-
get there's
you
something.
have to give them credit. They never actually acknowledge their mistakes. So if they do that, they've acknowledged their mistakes.
but see, no, that's what I'm saying. That's not
what I was gonna say,
acknowledging.
too.
I don't think that would be acknowledging their mistake. They would just be saying, Jehovah made it so it's not a problem anymore. Right? Like, they would say, like, it was a problem when humans did that, and now Jehovah has made it because, I don't know, AIDS drugs are now so good. So therefore,
What I don't
being gay is
understand-
cool. And it's like, are those related? No, but that's the justification.
But on one hand, they can say that Jehovah does not talk anymore to the earthly realm. Like, they say that God does not talk directly anymore. Like, that's kaput. So anybody else saying so is lying. But then they say, oh, we have New Light. God's Holy Spirit has told us. Like, bitch, that is the same damn thing. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, stop. What is the difference between what Paul got revealed to him and your freaking New Light?
Yeah. I think
No.
the one thing though is like I think like if activism could like force them to make changes, that would be great. But like they really can't logistically because like
know.
with things like the blood doctrine
get
and
it.
stuff, if they
Oh,
ever
yeah.
took that back, like you can't take it back ever because
they'd have to accept that they'd have to say,
Kill
okay, we
people.
killed
and, like,
100,000 whatever people that is the
That's the thing. They're never going to say we made a mistake.
Yeah.
They're always going
Yeah.
to say there was a new understanding, the new light. Jehovah said we need to do it this way. You know, we were just following what we interpreted before. So they're never really going to take ownership of anything that they've done, unfortunately.
I
Yeah.
know. I mean, I do. Because what they do is like I just saw Toni Morris say when I was listening to the which video was it? The one about the kids' education, or was it the one? Oh shoot! Now I forget. Okay, skip me next. Just like that. Go on.
Aw.
Oh, my brain.
I think they probably would. I don't think the blood doctrine's going anywhere. I don't think, unless some completely new technology makes it so like artificial blood, right? Like if we could get a replacement blood that works just as well or better than real blood, then they could be like, artificial blood's fine, you can do an artificial blood transfusion, and that would be sort of working around. But otherwise, I don't think the blood doctrine is ever going to change.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
They've written themselves too much into a corner.
Yeah.
I figured out what this video needed. It needed a ZZ.
Wait, what's that?
That's easy.
What's
Yeah, that's
easy?
Jake.
W thoughts
Thoughts.
cat.
This cat that's always on camera? Yeah.
That's
Oh,
This
that's
is-
right. Yeah.
This is Geronimo. He's a
call
little
Hello,
asshole.
Geronimo.
That cat is just always up in the front going.
Hi, Bubba.
I just watch the cat while he talks. I'm like,
Yeah.
look at that
Yeah.
cat. That cat's living the life right there.
He knows what he's doing with that cat.
I love his color.
I know, right? He knows what he's doing. He's got the. I maybe I need to do that, or should I maybe just lick myself? Would that maybe?
little kitty cat ears.
Is that? Oh, I do
Even
have
okay,
ears in the
goodbye.
background. I could do that. Anyway, sorry, y'all. Didn't mean to derail the conversation.
I'm not flexible enough to lick my leg.
Hey, if I could, that's a whole nother topic. But
Yeah, that's true.
So would everybody.
Wait for the angel. Wait for the angel.
yeah, I'm waiting for the angel to do that for me. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
That's what
with the
even
eyes.
possession.
With their eyes and their 1,000 tongues.
Yes, that's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
There we go. That 1,000 eyes you have, are you just happy to see me?
Well,
Well,
but-
we may never know, but if we do find out, we need to pass it around. Well, we're at the 2-hour mark, y'all.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? And we just kind of like
We went all over the place. That's
we
fine.
went all over the place, but I mean, we can get more. We'll get better at doing this kind of stuff. You know, it's going to take.
do you need like a recap here?
Yeah, we could do it. Oh, do a recap. Do a recap.
Because I
kind
missed
of
the
like-
first hour anyway, so.
Oh, we pretty much just talked about, how people use. I mean, we said it before. That people have derisive views of sex work, regardless of the fact that like you can have your derisive views of Lloyd. I mean, even in the live stream that he did, he was so fucking rude to his wife.
Yeah.
Right? Like he said.
I
She
did have
wanted
an
me to
issue with
mention
that.
her as little as possible. And then he still said that. Like, you
Yeah,
don't have to say anything. Right?
But regardless of that, the point is when it comes. But like, if you have an opinion on that, like if you feel you were
Yeah.
betrayed in any way,
That's
that's not
valid.
the sex worker's fault.
Right.
So like the fact that a lot of people are falling back on jokes that are like, oh well, they're icky and have STDs. It's just not okay. because
Falling back
other
on jokes, or
people-
also just falling back on the reasoning that, like, it's bad that Lloyd did it because the prostitution is illegal. Well,
Right.
it's like, illegal doesn't mean immoral, and also, like, who gives a fuck, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah,
what are you? What are you, a cop? Like, I don't care.
I don't know anything beyond the information that we've been giving, and I'm not going
Right.
to speculate beyond.
Right, there's no
Right.
point in speculating about any of that shit. We don't know anything about what really happened.
Right.
if some kind of crime was committed, I hope he
That's-
gets caught. If
Right.
I guess some kind of immoral crime. I don't really care if he commits crimes if it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt anybody.
It's not my,
But
I don't
in this
care
case,
what people do in their private
sounds like
lives.
he was hurting his family, and in that case, like I don't want him to do that anymore. Like that's
Right.
the end of my thoughts on it. I'm not
Yeah.
involved,
Don't hurt people is probably my stance in life.
right?
You know what I'm
Like
saying?
it's not a hot take.
Then
Don't
we-
yuck people's yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another stance I just learned that I'm really glad I learned.
We're we all made an agreement that whoever has sex with an angel or demon, we will meet back here to
You're right.
discuss.
Right.
And then we talked about racism, and I think
Racism.
that's and
And you know
purity
what?
culture
And
too.
purity culture, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would like to say to anybody who watches at some point and those in the audience, thank you so much for joining the first official XJW roundtable. What we hope to do is just discuss things in the XJW community and things beyond that, just when it comes to religious trauma and whatnot. But I definitely like keeping people up to date with what the organization has going on, because I feel things change quickly, and if you don't listen closely to what they say, you can almost miss the changes. So I hope to do this on a regular basis. I hope to stay regular with that, so y'all keep me on track with that, and get other people in here too. I want
Other
all
voices.
different,
and stuff.
yeah, I want everyone. I'll jump out too or whatever, so people can have, it doesn't matter, we can do this wherever, however we got to. So yeah, the topics we'll discuss is GB, JW. Outside of that, you bring it to us, we'll discuss it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anything closing, Musa? Do you have anything? Thank you so
For
much
me-
for coming. But
Thank you so much for having me. For me, it's more of just like people should live their lives, and I think when you put people on a pedestal, you will be disappointed.
Yeah.
If you demand
good
too much of
takeaway.
people, you'll be if you demand too much of people, you'll be disappointed. So
Yep.
some people are allowed to make their mistakes. We're human beings, and they make their mistakes with their own knowing. But we cannot judge everybody for what they do at that point. That only make us any better than the Jehovah's Witnesses that we leave behind.
Right.
So live your life, and
Let others
don't,
live theirs. Yeah.
don't judge other people for what they're doing.
I think that's very wise words. Just let people, because otherwise, if we're judging, we're taking that stance just like the J-Dubs did when they would judge us for things that we did, the things that,
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that was a great point. Jonathan, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Just live your life. Be kind to others, and try and help people when you can, and try to avoid hurting people when you can. And that's all you can really ask. Just do your best, enjoy life, and be good.
Oh, you know what? Also, hopefully we're going to get together some kind of maybe fundraiser for Ukraine. We're
Yes.
trying to figure that out, but just y'all keep your ears out for the channels here, because, and I need everyone to advertise your channel before we go to. Sorry.
Oh, in the chat?
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting used to this stuff. I can put it in the thing, but just say it so that.
Oh yeah, we're
it's like-
at bad.association on Instagram. We have a link tree there. You can go to all our stuff.
We have some YouTube videos and TikToks and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Variety of stuff.
And what about Musa? I'm sorry, Musa. Can you tell people your ats, like where they can find you, and if you have anything coming up or?
Oh yeah, you can find me on TikTok at the JW_variant. I have a couple of videos there. I do skits. I'm trying really bad. Please don't bite me. I'm trying really bad. The best
Sorry.
to be. No, it's my cat. Sometimes
Oh,
it's very.
So who's down there?
Right? Is it a demon?
I
Man, those demon problems, huh?
know.
I'm sorry.
Man, I brought a CD case to show and tell. What did you bring?
Yeah. So yes, you can just find me on TikTok. That's why.
the JW underscore variant. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a series. I haven't gotten through all of them yet. I think I'm at number 8 or 10. You have this mini series that you did, and it's so freaking funny. Like, you do all the parts of the people, and it just
Imagine.
you crack me up. Like, I love it. So
you have a
People are
really
mad.
good.
People
Yeah.
are mad. People are mad because I've used some real life,
Oh no.
like events. So I'm like,
Oh,
but I'm like, it's a common thing. It's not like it happens to only one person. That's the thing. So, but yeah, I have a series. It's called The Witnesses. Where I literally act all the roles. It was tasking because I had to raid my mother's closet. My mother was like, "What the hell are you doing with my clothes?"
Oh,
I asked you. I
And
was
I'm like-
wondering where you got her clothes and stuff, because you had like all the outfits, you had the hair. I was like, where did you get everything?
all of it. I even had bought. I had to cut out because she'd be like, "Yo, you're literally putting my entire wardrobe on your screen." So she wasn't understanding. She was
funny.
like, "What are you doing? I don't see this." And I was like, "No, it's not
Don't
content
ask Mom.
made for you." Yeah, it's not content made for her. But
I'm acting. Think of it
Very
like a
good.
drama.
Yes.
It's
There you go.
in between that.
Yeah, so make sure y'all like find those TikToks and
You
Yeah.
can find them on YouTube. I think on YouTube is now. I uploaded them recently on YouTube. You
Oh.
find them lined up really well because I'm trying to also bring it to the YouTube space.
Sure.
Now on TikTok they just messed around with it. Sometimes they
Tell me
shut off
about
the sounds because they heard that I took a certain sound effect and they were like, "No, this is not a TikTok sound. You're muting this video."
what
Yeah,
the
so the
frick?
TikTok ones had to be like.
That's
Instagram likes to do that to me every once in a while.
That's ridiculous.
We don't really put videos on our Instagram. We just like mostly. A lot of times I'm writing them, but sometimes Lexi will write them. But we'll look at the daily text or an article and like kind of break down thoughts, into a series of posts. And then I always include a picture of G Momo, the Geronimo, at the end.
You
That's a
said the
little
daily
bonus.
text, and I had a really bad flashback. So.
Oh, sorry about that.
You have
I'm
to
just
consider
saying.
the daily
Yes,
text
Oh,
every
I don't want to
morning.
think about that. No. Jonathan, I'm sorry. Did we mention your apps?
Yeah, we didn't. No.
We didn't mention your apps.
Well, it's all Ex Witness Awake. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Instagram is just basically increasing audience, so I'm just sort of throwing the
Right.
TikToks that way. I've got some people that contacted me on Instagram and TikTok that are interested in doing the fundraiser.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the idea that I had was to get enough people together because, like, I don't have enough time or material to sit there and be on a live for a long time.
Oh, no.
So I figure if you got people popping in and out and stuff that are want to be involved, that way it's more fun and they can do whatever, play the guitar and sing and just something to encourage people to donate. And I'm just trying to figure out what is the best organization to use to do that because I don't want a big cut going to YouTube or whatever
Right.
or to themselves. I want enough going to them, and I don't want it to be like going through me either because I don't want to handle any money. I just want them to do it
I get that.
and send it on its way.
Yeah,
So.
my personal favorites. I support the Red Cross. I support Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, and UNICEF. Obviously, are
I thought
Yeah.
Red Cross was terrible.
Red Cross isn't that
They all
bad.
are.
I mean,
They all are. Even
well,
you-
not Doctors Without Borders. I know for a fact
Yeah,
Doctors Without
that,
Borders
but I
is
think
pretty good.
I
But
don't know. I
I guess Red Cross could be
they
worse
have
than I
their own
thought.
issues. Yeah, they have their own issues.
But
Yeah.
I was gonna say if you're doing it through YouTube, if you establish that the donation thing on the side is for a non-profit organization, YouTube legally cannot take any money from that.
Oh,
so,
good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
so
awesome.
that they won't take any money from that, especially if you have like a pre-registered thing with them. Like if you're picking Doctors Without
Right.
Borders, that's already established.
And I'm also thinking about audience-wise because I've got about 570 odd subscribers right now,
Woo-hoo,
and
we
probably
got to get you to 1,000. Like, come on,
give me
y'all.
But I don't want it to flop, and I want it to have a large enough audience that people will actually be able to contribute. So
Yeah.
whether it'll be on my channel or someone else's, I got to figure that out. So,
Yeah, for sure.
What's
or I
the
don't know
right
if
way
there's
to do it?
I don't know if there's a cross broadcasting thing you can do or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know.
about
I
that.
got to figure that. I wonder if you can, because I feel like you've got to There's got to be somehow.
I don't think there's
just
anything
know yet.
built into YouTube like that.
Yeah,
But-
we
Okay.
probably have to.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's. We'll
Maybe it's an
figure it out.
OBS thing. Where you just pick destinations or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might have to run 2 instances of OBS or something like that
Okay.
to do that.
So Lex and Bob, what about for you both? Do you have any about our topic?
Final thoughts?
Any final thoughts?
Yeah, like follow us if you can, and
I think
be
you're meant
good
for the
to
stream.
people. Oh, I thought we did that part. I was
we
did
didn't
we?
say no.
I-
We didn't.
Oh,
we
we
didn't say
did?
anything. Don't
thought-
attack my feet, bud.
Oh, I
That's
thought
also
we
my-
did.
Bitch.
But yeah, like we said, just like everybody else said, just be good to each other, and like your feelings are valid, and it's really important to like just interrogate your feelings and why you feel strongly about something, but like that doesn't necessarily mean you have to fester on the negative.
Yeah.
So that was
There's a YouTuber that I like named Captain Disillusion, who does like VFX breakdowns of like debunking like hoax videos, but also just
But take on that cat.
the zooming.
Well, that
The cat's like.
He's going crazy. Bud, you okay?
he wants to play.
Yeah, he's been throwing around his toy out there. But the thing his catchphrase that I really like is "Love with your heart, use your head for everything else." And I think that's good advice. Generally speaking, you love with your heart, and then you use your head to think about everything else.
And make decisions.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I have.
his head is awesome.
Oh, you know what you did? You did give your bad association. You just didn't.
Yeah, we did.
You just didn't do the closing thing. Okay.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
and obviously, y'all, this is the channel that I operate on called Tastic. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Should I change my channel name? Or should just leave it? I don't even know what to do.
It depends on who you're trying to talk to. If you're trying to talk to
know.
people who are interested in cults,
what the hell I'm
Cultastic
doing.
might be the place to be. We
Is it
went with
an
Bad Association because we were thinking that maybe people who were combative witnesses might no, genuinely, they might see somebody audaciously calling themselves
me.
Bad Association, and
Yeah.
then they go click a video, and it turns out we're actually kind of nice. And so like maybe they'll be like, oh, maybe Bad Association is not so bad, or maybe they'll fight us, and then we can be like, no, we're trying to have a conversation here,
Right.
But like, I don't know, it's up to you who you're trying to reach. Are you trying to reach PMOs? Are you trying to reach PMEs?
I
Yeah,
don't know. I
maybe-
think Cultastic is fun.
Maybe it is fun. I think
It
I'll
is
just
fun,
leave it
yeah.
for now.
Yeah, just leave it.
And then, if need.
And if you really want to rebrand, you might as well just rebrand just like Ryan.
Yeah. Ryan.
Yeah.
You could make it whatever a cultastic joint.
Yeah,
You
something
know.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, a cultastic joint. I
Yeah,
like
make it like a
joints.
tagline or something.
Right. Yeah. That's
That'd
not
be cool.
So bad.
Produced
Okay,
by.
that's not so bad. Okay, good ideas. All right, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for popping my little all on me live broadcast. You all are amazing. You did excellent. I think we got our point across, and I hope maybe people will take some of that to heart and just see that we're coming from a good place. We're not trying to be judgmental. We just are hoping that maybe we can move the conversation in a better direction.
Yep.
And that is that. I don't have any taglines to take us out. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's all meet for coffee.
Okay. Bye, you guys.
I think we'll meet in Mexico.
okay, see you there.
See ya.